dark haze. Ladies of the night with eyes of red, vampires in the alleys where good men dread, wolfmen howling beneath the pale moon. But justice is coming and coming soon. From saloons to graveyards where evil sleeps, they walk among us. Secrets they keep, nightmare hunters with souls ablaze, cleaning up this town through the dark haze. Cryptids themselves, yet they stand tall against the darkness, answering the call for every lost soul, every whispered prayer. They fight for the light in the midnight air. From saloons to graveyards where evil sleeps, they walk among us. Secrets they keep, nightmare hunters with souls ablaze, cleaning up this town through the dark haze. The night is young, the hunt begins. For against the darkness where hope never ends.
Good evening, folks, and thank you guys for joining us in another edition of the Nightmare Hunter podcast. We got a full house for you guys tonight. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. I think it's going to be a heck of a show tonight. I'm D.A. Roberts, your host. With me over here is Robbie Jed Rains, Steve Wildman Monrotis, and Carrie Pocket Doc Davis. You guys got a nice close-up of him as the music was kicking off. But that was kind of my fault, but hey, here we are. And boys, how the heck you guys doing tonight?
Wyatt, I am rolling.
Steve, how you doing, brother?
Oh, as always, never had this much fun. I'll save the rest for later.
With your clothes on, huh?
Yeah, never had this much fun with my clothes on.
Yeah.
Robbie, how you doing, brother?
Upright and breathing.
Yeah, man, that's all any of us can ask for.
Man, amen. That's I am so glad to. I feel way better than I did last week. I don't look no better, but I feel better.
That same here. I got the face for radio. But folks, one thing I want to say before we get going is the last couple of days, if those of you who are familiar with this show, we have not been able to get a hold of Eric Testerman. If any of you out there have any information about Eric, let us know. Otherwise, after the show, I'm going to be going out there. So y'all, keep Eric in your prayers. We don't know what's going on. It could be something simple. It could just be his phone died. Don't know. But it's been going on 36 hours since anybody's had any contact. So after the show tonight, I will be going out there. So again, y'all keep him in your prayers. And if anybody hears anything from him during the show, please let us know. But having said that, boys, you guys ready to jump in tonight?
Yeah,
Hit it.
Yeah, let's get after
Well, tonight we're going to be talking about something very bizarre, something that I hadn't even heard of until a couple weeks ago. I was talking to a guy that lives down the street from me, and we got to talking about weird things that have happened in the woods. And he goes, I used to live out by Shell Knob, and I've heard a bunch of weird stories out there. And from that conversation grew some research, and that's where we're at tonight. So tonight we're going to be talking to you about the Ozarks Bone Pile. And it's a creepy, terrifying story. So tonight we're going to take you deep into the Mark Twain National Forest to the ridges west of Lampe, Missouri. And if any of y'all know that area, That ain't exactly civilization as you know the word. Lampe is not a big town, and the woods out there are thick and deep. That's the heart of the Mark Twain National Forest. And into those ridges is a place where hunters whisper about the places locals avoid, and a place where the woods go quiet in ways that it shouldn't. A place that animals don't go. A place that isn't on any of the maps. It's one of those places you just got to find. A place where the old timers call it the Dead Ridge. But this is the heart of the Ozarks. Dense oak, steep hollows, forgotten trails, but something out here moves with purpose. Something that walks on two legs. Something that leaves no tracks unless it wants to. Something that can lift a full-grown deer off the ground without a sound, as has happened to me. And at the center of it all is a clearing. A clearing filled with bones. Not scattered, not chewed, arranged. Sorted by size, by age, by species. A bone pile that looks less like a kill site and more like a message, a warning. Tonight, you'll hear the stories from people who survived that ridge. A bow hunter who followed a perfect blood trail until it ended in nothing. Two brothers who heard something massive breathing in the brush. An old-timer who's been seeing things out there for the last 50 years. A hunter who watched a deer vanish mid-chase. And a man who was walked out of the woods by something that could have taken him, but didn't. You'll hear about the silence, the unnatural, suffocating silence that falls over the ridge like a blanket. You'll hear about the footsteps, heavy, deliberate, and bipedal. You'll hear about the breath, deep enough to vibrate your rib cage. And you'll hear about the handprints, 5-fingered, too big for any human, pressed into the metal of the side of a truck. And you'll hear why every witness says the same thing. It wasn't hiding, it was watching. This isn't folklore, this isn't a campfire story, this is territory. Active, dangerous, and claimed by something unseen. So tighten your pack straps, folks. Check your flashlight batteries, and whatever you do, don't go alone. Boys, who would like to take the first story?
I'll take it. Nobody else wants it.
Steve, go right ahead, brother.
Over where I'm too scared to talk here. I happen to know where Lampe is, and I'm pretty sure that BFE is the closest place where you can get gas.
Lampe is, like I said, it ain't exactly civilization as most folks know it. There ain't much out there.
Nope.
And yes, Miss Lene, if you're listening, Lampe is about 5 miles from where you were staying when you were in the Ozarks last time.
I was going to say, if you look hard enough, you might find a few recreational pharmacologists, but otherwise, that's about it. All righty. Well, this one is called The Bow Hunter and the Trail That Ended in Bones. He'd hunted the Ozarks long enough to know the woods like the back of his hand. The ridges, the bedding areas, the places where deer funneled down into natural choke points. He wasn't a rookie. He wasn't easily spooked, sorry. And he sure as hell wasn't the type to get turned around in the Mark Twain. It was early morning, late October. Cold enough that his breath fogged the air. Warm enough that the forest still held the smell of damp leaves and earth. The kind of morning where sound carries far and clean. He'd been perched in his stand since before dawn. When the buck stepped into view, a big-bodied 8-pointer, he drew back, exhaled, and released. The arrow hit with that unmistakable thunk of a lung shot. The deer bolted uphill, crashing through brush, leaving a bright, easy-to-follow blood trail. He waited the standard 20 minutes, then climbed down and started tracking. The trail was perfect, bright red, steady, textbook. He followed it up a narrow game path, across a fallen log and into thicker timber. The forest was alive with the usual morning sounds, squirrels chattering, birds calling, the distant tapping of a woodpecker. Then gradually the sounds faded. He didn't notice it at first. He was focused on the blood trail. But by the time he reached the top of the ridge, the woods were quiet, not silent, just muted, like the forest was holding its breath. The blood trail continued another 20 yards, and then it stopped. Not thinned out, not smeared, not scattered. Stopped. A perfect, clean end in the middle of a small clearing he'd never seen before. A clearing that didn't belong there. The trees around it leaned inward, the branches forming a canopy so dense the morning light barely reached the ground. He crouched, expecting to find the deer collapse nearby. Instead, he saw bones. Lots of bones. At first, he thought it was just an old kill site, coyotes or bobcats, but the longer he looked, the more wrong it felt. The bones weren't scattered, they were arranged. A deer's spine lay in a perfect curve, each vertebrae separated cleanly, like someone who had taken the time to pull them apart. A skull sat upright facing the tree line, as if placed there deliberately. Ribs were cracked open down the center, pried apart with force, not cut, not chewed. Femurs were split lengthwise, marrow exposed but untouched, and none of them belonged to the deer he shot. He stood slowly, scanning the clearing. No drag marks, no footprints, no signs of scavengers, no flies, no smell of rot. Just bones. Clean, sun-bleached, old. And the forest was silent now, truly silent. He felt it before he heard it, a pressure in the air, like the atmosphere thickened around him. His heartbeat sounded too loud in his ears. Then it came. A deep, chesty exhale from the brush below him. Not a grunt, not a snort, not a deer blowing, not a bear huffing. This was lower, heavier, wet, resonant. He felt it in his ribs. He didn't turn around. Every instinct he had, every ounce of training, every year of experience screamed the same thing. Do not move. He kept his eyes forward, fixed on the bones, and slowly shifted his weight backward. One step, then another. The thing in the brush didn't move, didn't breathe again, didn't circle, didn't charge. It just watched. He backed out of the clearing, never turning his back, never lowering his bow. When he reached the tree line, the forest sounds returned, faint at first, then all at once, like someone had flipped a switch. He didn't retrieve his arrow. He didn't follow the trail again. He didn't tell anyone for months. But he never hunted that ridge again. And he never forgot the feeling of that exhale, like something massive was letting him know, you're in my place, and I'm letting you leave. It's a little pucker.
That's the same way my deer disappeared. Just blood trail stopped.
Really?
Well, it's completely routine for 120 pounds of meat to just vanish into thin air.
Yeah. That's not irregular at all.
No, not a bit.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. All the time. I don't know.
Well, definitely to me, it would say that the deer was carried away, not dragged.
Oh, yeah.
So if it was a mountain lion, would have been dragged. If it was a bear, would have been dragged. Mm-hmm. Bears and mountain lions don't throw animals over their shoulder and walk off. Mm-mm. Coyotes would have ate it right on the spot, so would have wolves.
Well, that marrow would have been eaten too. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Nope. I mean, they left food for scavengers there.
Right. And there was no marks on the bones. So the bones hadn't been gnawed on. So how were the bones stripped? Were they stripped through, the scavenger insects, or because had it been an animal stripping the meat off those bones, those bones have been chewed up. And like you said, they left the marrow, and that's some of the most nutrient dense substances that they can get out there in the wild.
And that's why dogs and canines like wolves evolved with so much bite force, is to get at that marrow in the bones.
Yeah.
And y'all got porcupines in Missouri, correct?
Yeah, they'll eat bones.
That's very, very telling that even the porcupines didn't come in there to eat the bones.
Yeah, that's a good point, Robbie. I didn't think about that. And
generally, if you leave bones in the woods, they're scattered like the wind anyway. For them to be all concentrated in one spot, that's unnatural.
Well, and also arranged by the species, so it wasn't like there was just big jumble of Lincoln log pile of bones. It was all, hey, here's deer bones here, here's whatever bones over here, and that's some bizarre stuff, man.
Very.
Well, and, I would think you could probably rule out the pranking, amateur paleontologists there, because they would have had to have tool marks to get all that meat off.
Right.
I think I know where this area is. I think I could get us there.
I'd be interested in going and checking that out, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can get us there.
As long as there ain't no freaking doll houses around there, we'll be all right.
Speaking of which, before I forget, I finally noticed the last scene at the end of that intro was the bridge, wasn't it? In Joe Bald.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. I had a little strip of fear about that wide run from the back of my head down to my butt.
I shot that video for the intro and outro by just driving through Joe Bald.
That's funny.
Steve's like, I feel like I've been there before. I have.
And,
Hey, you can always tell because if you look down in the lower corner where we got our thumbnails, you can see Steve go.
Yeah. Or even worse, it's one of those ones you're trying to jog your memory on it. You'll have to look at it going, ah!
yeah, that's funny. Now here's something I'm going to ask, and this is maybe for a tracking aspect, but there were no tracks there, right? It
None
was
that
like
he could find.
the blood trail, no
Just
deer,
stopped.
and then no tracks around any of that.
Right. Also, this is the same area where a bow hunter got chased out by something that followed him in the treetops.
Oh,
Okay.
He said he never saw it because there was plenty of canopy. He said never saw it, but he would hear it jump from tree trunk to tree trunk following him.
Oh, it's one of
so
them
maybe
tree
that's
traps.
where maybe the deer went.
Yeah. Lots of prehensile deer climbing trees out there.
Yeah,
It was a Missouri tree trout jumping from tree to tree, chasing him.
Yeah.
kind of those deer at Combs Ferry that just happen to have their skin up in trees.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going with it. Yeah, that perfectly placed tree trout.
Tree trout. Yeah.
Or could have been like we talked about the other night. Da could have been one of those Missouri tree gators.
That's right.
The only
Yeah, because
problem
those
I
are so
have,
common around here.
Well,
the only problem I have with this, other than aside from the usual cryptid fare, is how the hell were there not tracks? Something big enough to carry away a full damn deer, you think would be heavy enough to leave imprints. I'm
Right.
assuming this guy's a decent tracker.
unless it was going through the trees. That's what I was saying. Is if it was going through the trees and then came down, scooped that sucker up and went right back up the trees with it, like a big cat does.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I mean, I'm spitballing like a son of a gun. I have no idea. I mean, but that seems plausible, doesn't it?
Makes as much
Yeah.
sense as anything else.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise there'd be tracks on the ground. There'd be also blood on the ground, as like, because if this carrying it on its, even if it's carrying it on its back, one, there'd be tracks, but it'd also be drip, drip, drip.
Right. I
Right.
hadn't thought of that.
Instead
So
of blood on the
basically,
tree.
something's doing some Mission Impossible stuff.
Yeah,
Trying to.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it would not be the first time we found remains of remains of deer specifically way up in the trees.
I mean, we've seen that a couple of times now.
Well, down in Combs Ferry, not only was it up in the tree, it was on branches that a mountain lion was too thin to support a mountain lion
Exactly.
or a bobcat. I mean, I could have grabbed it and just snapped it off.
Yeah,
it
that's
was clearly
picture.
placed on a small branch for us to see.
Yeah, because I held my water bottle up there, and Wyatt took a picture of it for just a comparison.
Yeah, the scale
And that
frozen
was a
in.
small branch.
Yeah. Also, you ever heard of a predator like a bear or a wolf or a mountain lion sorting the bones by type?
Never.
Mm-mm.
That requires.
That requires a certain amount of intellect.
Yeah.
Well, a certain amount of intellect and a touch of the tism, honestly.
Maybe it's an OCD cryptid.
Well, but how many times have we talked about, kids on the spectrum being targets of cryptids like this? But so
Ooh, that's a good point.
Lone Queen's got a good point too. She says if they're using the trees, it helps explain why some of the missing 411 have no tracks or scent trails.
Yeah,
If the scent goes up a tree, a dog ain't gonna know what to follow.
definitely going to make them puzzled.
N4 UPD says, you've heard of a place near Carthage, Missouri called the Underground, a big underground storage facility? I've actually been down in the one. The one at Carthage is abandoned now, but the one under Springfield is still growing. We're not even sure how far the one in Springfield goes. That's a whole other story. That's a night. Well, Steve's going to have to get out his tinfoil hat, because if we start down that rabbit hole with the Springfield Underground, we're going to go deep down that rabbit hole.
better bring
Hey,
a
I may have lost
parachute.
my office, but I still got my hat.
So, again, back to this. What do you think that those bones had been carried off by other animals?
Yeah, that like I said, the thing with the porcupines not coming in,
Right.
and or other little small scavengers coming in. That's
Wendell, they didn't say,
Yeah, I mean,
but it wouldn't surprise me.
There's something there. There's something there that's basically told everything else. Y'all stay off my turf.
well, and don't overlook the fact that we know that these things have been talked about using tools. Maybe they're leaving them out to, to sun because it said in the story, didn't it, Steve, that they'd been sun bleached.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they've been there a minute.
Yeah. So maybe that's a reason that they're left there, is so they can be used for tools.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's got me. It's got me.
They went to the trouble of splitting open the femur bone, but didn't eat the marrow.
That was what
because that's got to be a lot of work.
Yeah, that's what I found was kind of odd too. Why would they go to all that effort? Because those femurs are stout. Why would they go to all that effort to split it open? And
Track me on this one, Doc, because you'll appreciate this one. What is the hardest bone in the human body to break?
The scapula.
See, we were told the femur. I would say that's a fairly good. Hey, looky what I can do! Don't mess with me, kind of gesture.
Yeah. I mean, because the femur is like, we were always taught with the scapula and the femur are the two toughest, and because if somebody has a broken scapula, that's indicative of a major amount of force transfer. Just same thing with somebody breaking a femur, because it's as strong, and you've probably heard this too, Steve. I heard this from an orthopedist. He's like, these bones, the femur is as strong as reinforced concrete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He told us the same thing, basically. If you break a femur, that is a significant trauma.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of force transmitted to the body. So if it's strong enough to split a femur, I mean, I wonder. See, now I'm thinking about the tool stuff that Robbie was saying. I wonder if they had some sort of tool to split that thing down the middle, or if it was done barehanded, that's even more impressive.
My guess, impressive. Thanks for just making up words there, Doc.
Well,
I love it.
Yeah. But I would say it would be, to me, it would sound more indicative of tool use. Maybe using a sharp rock to split it, or
maybe
it's like better making its tools.
Yeah,
like a
Dr. Sharp. Yeah, it's right down there by Dogwood Canyon.
Huh.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about it being tool use than just simply being a phallus measuring gesture from whatever's living out there.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. No thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody just put it could be from a bone tomahawk. I mean, that the femur would make a good handle for something.
Yeah.
The
movie
tensile strength of that's significant.
That movie Bone Tomahawk was horrendous.
Horrible. Hate it.
Brutal.
Hate
It was brutal, dude. It was. I've watched it once, and I can't watch it again.
I've watched it a couple times.
Oof, Lord have mercy. Angie wouldn't even watch it. She's a horror fiend, you know. She's like, after that cave scene, she's like, yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
So,
I think I'm good.
what do you guys think of him saying that when he heard that exhale, he froze? Said he could feel it in his ribs. I don't know of any normal animal in Missouri that could explain that. Bears don't make that kind of a deep noise, and it's more of a chuff sound anyway.
Yeah, almost like a deer blow when they blow.
Right.
Like that.
But for you to feel that in your chest, that's got something with some lung capacity.
Remember when I told you about
pitch.
my buddy? He's back with us now, but when he went to the sheriff's office, he went down to that reserve in Clemson. Anyway, behind T. Ed Garrison Arena for anybody who's from this area in there. But he said he went down there, and it was 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and they had just cut a road in there, and kids would go in there and park. So he was going in there to check, and as he was going around, he had his lights off because he was going around trying to catch them. Mm-hmm. And as he come around a curve, he kind of stopped because he thought he had his windows down. He thought he heard something, so he put it in park, cut his patrol car off, and he heard something almost like that. And I asked him, I said, "Well, what did it feel like?" He said, "Dude, I felt it. It was like it vibrated all the way through my chest." He said it was a low rumbling, like breath growl mixed together.
Do you think there's some like infrasound there, like a lion's roar? Because when a lion roars, you can actually feel it in your chest.
I think infrasound's the only thing that explains it.
I mean, I ain't trying to be all. I just thinking that does that sound plausible to y'all?
Oh yeah. I mean, tigers have it, elephants do it, whales do it. There's a lot of animals in the animal kingdom that use a version of infrasound. So it makes sense that something with a big enough lung capacity and this kind of power would, at least, part of its vocalization would fall into the infrasound range.
Well, I believe it's pilot whales actually use their infrasound to stun prey.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you're right, Robbie.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I think blue whales do it too. They'll get up underneath fish and they'll release air while at the same time releasing a large volume of sound and then scoop up a whole school of fish.
Well, even things like those little mantis shrimp, when they punch, the shockwave and the sound waves from their little fist going through the water so fast is what kills the prey. They don't ever actually make contact.
Boom.
Yeah, it's little pistol shrimp. They even the cavitation that they make is so severe that it actually gets to ridiculously high temperature. It's something like hundreds of degrees, which is just amazes the snot out of me.
That's pretty freaking cool. Nature is pretty freaking rad.
Yep. Well,
nature is metal.
That's what we say all the time. Just look in nature, and you can get some of these answers that we don't.
100%.
I mean,
so what do you think it was?
Something bigger, way bigger than him, and it wasn't a bear.
The stuff of nightmares.
And Robbie, if there's no tracks, you're a tracker. If there's no tracks, where'd the crap to come from? You know what I mean?
I mean, you might be on the right track, Doc. Or and it could be something like we've speculated before. The pads of their feet just allow them to not leave tracks as much.
Kind of like an elephant track. How the elephant foot just kind of spreads out over the ground.
Yeah.
It's probably a combination of both, to be honest.
Huh. Because I never knew that. I didn't know that until years ago that just a few years ago that elephants' feet were like that soft and spread out like that. That was pretty interesting. I don't know. That's DA. What do you think it is?
Well, I know what we've encountered at Combs Ferry, which is not very far from there. I know what we've encountered in Joe Bald, and I know the stories of the Ozarks Howler. It could be any of the three. I mean, it could be a howler. It could be a Bigfoot. It could be a dog man. I don't know what it is, but I do know one thing: it's intelligent, and it could have taken that bow hunter if it wanted it.
It could be a whole different kind of critter that we don't know about either.
Yeah, it could be something we're not even aware of. Well, also considering the fact that Drury Mincy is not that far from there.
I was going to say, considering, I just learned about, cat squatch, as we were jokingly calling it last week.
Cat squatch fever.
I'm
never going to hear that song the same, Robbie. Thanks.
Man.
Hey, if Uncle Ted had thought of it first, he would have said it.
Yeah, probably.
He would have.
But so clearly, this thing didn't give a dang that it knew he was there.
Mm-mm.
It did not care a single bit that he knew it was there.
But we've seen that a lot.
Right, no fear of us.
So what kind of logic, as far as like a signal to send, would be the piles? It seems like it's the middle of no place to be like a territorial marker.
Well, you guys want to hear something crazy?
What's that?
This
I
is
think we
not
just
the
did, anyway.
this is not the only time this has been reported in Missouri. There's a place down by Eminence that another researcher refers to as the killing fields, where a farmer kept having livestock go missing, and he called Missouri Department of Conservation, and they said it's probably just wolves. Don't worry about it. So he started tracking where the animal was coming from, followed it back to a cave about a mile from his property, and lining the pathway up to the cave were stacks of bones separated by type.
Holy crap!
Said he didn't go in. He called this researcher, and the researcher went down there and said he just got the overwhelming feeling when he got down there that he did not want to go in that cave.
Yeah, he's like, hey, guess what time it is?
Right. He documented the area and back out, but around that area, about a 10-mile area around that cave, lots of livestock have gone missing.
That's freaky.
Yeah.
Again, not the only time this has been reported in Missouri.
The fact the conservation agent said it was probably just wolves is probably the same agent that's going, it's just wolves.
Just raccoons.
Yeah.
It's just a tree gator.
So what would you boys have done? Would you have backed out slowly like that, or just turned and beat feet?
It would have been very hard not to beat feet, but I know enough now that by running from anything big like that, I would just become prey.
Right. You'd engage the predator response.
I think
and I'd be wishing it was firearm season in that part of the woods.
So what do you think? Do you think it was deciding on whether or not he was worth eating, or whether it cared or not, whether he was even there?
I would say that it already had food now because it took his deer, and it was just I think maybe it just told him, or it was telling him, hey, you know I'm here, I know you're here. Why don't we just call it even, and you get to live, because I can't eat you anyway. I don't want to eat you anyway.
So here's the question for all three of you, plus anybody in the chat if they want to answer it. Do you think that just based on this story alone, do you think this is enough to warrant a full investigation by us, the Nightmare Hunters?
I think so.
100%.
Just that one incident, yeah.
Yeah, and we haven't gotten to any of the others yet, boys.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah. I mean, just based on the bone placement and arrangement and everything alone, I would like to go there and just see that for myself. You know what I mean?
One of the stories that we're going to get to here shortly, the old boy in that's an older gentleman, and he said that stories about this place have been going back 50 years.
And that's just as far as he knows.
As far as he knows.
Yeah.
Right. Said he heard the stories the first time when he was a kid in the 70s.
Huh.
But somebody told those people that he heard it from first, somebody had told them that before that. So
right.
Oh boy. Yeah. So it's generational stuff.
That's weird. And that,
Northwood says we need to go, but we need to take air support.
Well, and I was just when I saw that, Robbie, if we do go there, it would be obviously scout it in the daytime and fly your drone around.
Yeah.
And see what's going on.
Remember what they said: the tree canopy is too thick to even see the sky.
Well,
so we're not going to find it. We're not going to find it with a drone. Maybe in the fall or winter, maybe.
Yeah, if it's up the tree.
I'd still want the drone to give a little bit of forward vision. You know, I would really not like to just stumble upon something.
Arkansas Hog Hunter Dan knows that area.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, he can tell you that is some thick, dark woods and hollows down there. So, you guys want to rock, paper, scissors, or just one of y'all want to volunteer for the second story?
I'll take it.
All right, Robbie, all yours, brother.
The two brothers and a thing in the brush. They weren't the kind of men who scared easy. The two brothers had grown up in the Ozarks, the kind of childhood where you learn to track deer before you learn to drive, where you know the difference between a bobcat scream and a fox bark by the time you're 10. They'd hunted these woods their whole lives. They'd camped in the storms, crossed swollen creeks, and walked out in the forest in the dark more times than they could count. They weren't green and they weren't jumpy. They weren't the type to spook at shadows. which is why what happened that morning still bothers them. It was early spring, turkey season, just a few weeks away, and they were scouting the ridge west of Lampe, a place their dad used to hunt and a place they knew well. The forest was waking up, birds calling, squirrels chattering, the soft rustle of wind through the oak leaves. They were talking quietly, moving slow, checking for sign. Then the woods changed. It didn't happen all at once. It was gradual, almost subtle, like someone was turning down the volume on the world. The birds stopped first, then the squirrels. Then even the wind seemed to die down. The younger brother noticed it first. "You hear that?" he whispered. The older one nodded. The older one nodded that he'd heard it too. Silence. Not quiet, but silence. A heavy, suffocating stillness that settled over the ridge like a blanket. They kept walking, slower now, more alert. That's when they saw the clearing. It wasn't large, maybe 20 feet across, but it looked wrong. The trees around it leaned inward, their branches forming a canopy so thick that sunlight barely touched the ground. The air inside the clearing looked darker and heavier, like a shadow that didn't belong. In the center were bones, dozens of them. At first glance, it looked like the aftermath of a poacher's dump site. But the longer they stared, the more wrong it felt. The bones weren't scattered, they were placed. The deer skull sat upright facing the tree line. Ribs were arranged in a loose spiral. Femurs were paired side by side. The spine lay in a perfect curve, each vertebrae separated cleanly. The older brother crouched, squinting at a rib. "Dude, these are cracked open, not cut, not chewed, but cracked." The younger brother didn't answer. He was staring at something else. Some of the bones were fresh, still red at the joints, still wet. But there were no flies, no beetles, no scavengers, nothing, just silence. The older brother finally said what they were both thinking. "This ain't right." He stood up slowly, scanning the tree line. That's when it happened. A sound rolled out of the bush, or out of the brush behind them. Low, deep, and heavy. Not a growl, not a grunt. A huff. A massive animal clearing its lungs. But it wasn't the sound that froze them. It was the vibration. They felt it in their ribs, in their teeth, in the ground beneath their boots. The younger brother whispered, "That wasn't a deer." The older one said, "It wasn't a bear either." They raised their rifles, but not to fire, just to have them ready. They backed up slowly, never turning their backs on the clearing. The brush behind them didn't move. The thing didn't step out. It didn't circle. It didn't make another sound. It just watched. They could feel it, the weight of its attention, the cold pressure of it being studied by something that didn't fear them, didn't care about them, and didn't see them as a threat. When they reached the tree line, the forest sounds returned. Faint at first, then all at once, like someone had flipped a switch. They didn't speak until they were halfway back to the truck. The younger brother finally said, You think it was watching us the whole time?" The older one didn't answer for a long moment. Then he said quietly, "I think we walked into something's living room." They never went back. They never went back for the gear they dropped and never returned to that ridge. And this day, neither of them will talk about it or talk about what they think was standing in that brush, breathing heavy, watching and waiting.
Dude. Oh, holy brown pants.
Okay. So something just hit me now that we've read this one and it's, similar to the other one. What would keep flies from gathering?
I don't know.
I don't know any kind of natural critter. I mean, the flies are some of the first things to arrive. They're there in like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. And do y'all have fire ants up there? Y'all don't have fire ants up there, do you?
Not in Missouri. I haven't seen any fire ants around here.
But you got
We used to have them in New Mexico, but not around here. We got plenty of ants.
Well, okay, so wouldn't ants be on that stuff?
You think?
This is the fresh stuff.
Yeah.
We got plenty of regular army ants. We got a lot of I don't know what y'all call them where you live, Carrie, but a lot of them roly polies.
I've heard stories of Bigfoot kills that animals wouldn't touch. I've heard that described before. In fact, out there in Meeker, they said that the scavengers wouldn't touch the animals those things had killed.
Well, I can see it, regular scavengers, but like the regular vertebrates and whatnot. But
right.
I mean, flies ain't too picky. you poo in the woods, you made them a smorgasbord, and they're thrilled with it.
Right. Who ordered
Maybe
the poo-poo platter?
Maybe
Right.
it's something to do with the smell that they leave.
I don't know.
Maybe, maybe they have some
Bottle
kind, of
that stuff.
pheromone, some kind of pheromone they release. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe.
Bottle
Something
it,
we
make
can't
it,
smell.
Release it to one of these companies to sell it.
Yeah, that's
Well, you know, the way they describe that clearing, the canopy over it, that's just like Blunk Road, that last mile going down to Blunk Road. The trees are
is.
grown up over the road. It's like driving through a tunnel.
it. Really
Mm-hmm.
is.
Yeah.
It really is driving through it.
With
really
wood so
quick.
thick, it'll swallow you if you get off the road.
Oof.
Well, and even
Lone
like,
Queen says there might be a plant or a pheromone that keeps the critters away.
Yeah, I think of.
Yeah.
Look at that. Renita Crocker says, "What? WTF? I do not blame them. On cattle mutilations, nothing touches what's left. Predators, nothing."
You know, that's a good point
that.
too. I'd forgotten all about that. That's
what happened out at Meeker. They said that the ones they dragged away from the herd, nothing would touch them.
Nothing. Not even the carrion birds
Yeah.
wouldn't touch it. Never.
They say the same thing about that. That place out in, what is the name of it? The History Channel did a special on it, a show season to season. I'll think of it later. The one LDS investor bought the place, and they're investigating it for like weird activity and portals. And
are you talking about Skinwalker Ranch?
thank you, God, I don't know. I went blank there. I think I had a stroke. Yeah, Skinwalker Ranch. The cows that they had die there, nothing touched them either.
Mm. Yeah, my son sent me a podcast on that today. It's like 2 hours long. I hadn't listened to it yet, but yeah, he was talking specifically about the Skinwalker Ranch incident.
Boys,
Cattle.
Doc, Robbie, you guys were out there. Steve wasn't out there for this one, but Steve experienced it on Combs Ferry. Do you remember on Moon Valley after the calls how the sound just kind of went away?
Yep.
It didn't just stop all at once. It just very slowly was
It's
dead
like somebody
quiet.
just turned the volume down.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was like just a slow turning down the volume. And the only thing we could hear was the running water of that creek.
And there are parts of Moon Valley, like when you get over in that parking area, where again the canopy's over it like a tunnel.
Is that over there near the hatchery?
No, the hatchery's a ways away from Moon Valley.
Okay.
Well,
Well, that gravel road we went down to the hatchery was like that. It was all grown up.
Yeah.
if a pheromone took a little bit to was released into the environment, it would dissipate out. Assuming a still day, it would dissipate out from there like that. Everything would just kind of shut down as it got to it.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
would be a gradual shutdown, and once they start smelling it, they start. I'm
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, think
Now-
about anytime you've ever gotten crop dusted in the office by one of your mates. It's like as it goes through the room, everybody's like, as it works its way through the group.
Leaving everybody to bask in your aroma.
I call that my biological warfare.
Yeah, Steve's been banned by the Geneva Convention.
I'm a walking war crime at work.
So what do you guys think about the huff?
Sounds
Same.
a lot like the first one.
Sound like the other one. Exactly.
Yep.
Basically,
So odds are
Here
same
on.
creature.
Same
Could
species
be.
anyway.
because they said the same thing. The other dude, they felt it in their chest, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it was had some
They-
lung capacity.
They even said they felt it in their teeth.
Yeah.
Do you think it was warning them to leave, or it was giving them a chance to leave, or was just saying, this is my place, you need to go? I kind of get the feeling that if they'd have gone farther into that clearing, they might not have left it.
I think it was a territorial.
Yep.
Because we all know, all four of us and most everybody that know, if it had wanted them, we wouldn't be reading this story.
Right. Right. Their bones
Yeah.
might be added to that pile.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I don't know. I think the fact that it gave them that huff, just like the other one did, was basically kind of like it announcing its presence.
Right.
and they did the same exact thing that the other guy did and backed out slowly, which I think don't give it your back. You know what I mean?
I think if they had turned and ran, we probably never would have heard this story.
Right. Yep. Just like Steve was saying, when you run, the game is afoot. You know what I mean? You're prey.
I don't think we're necessarily on the menu, but if the opportunity presents itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Ooh, good job, buddy.
And the behavior both times, clearly it wasn't afraid.
No.
Even though they were all armed, even though one guy was carrying a bow, both the brothers were carrying guns, and it still wasn't afraid.
And it did.
Right.
And then what strikes me too is it huffed. Both these incidences it huffed and never growled at them. It never growled at them. So I mean, I don't know. Like they said, they're in there. They walked into that thing's living room. You know what I mean?
Right. Julie says, do you think it's possible they thought if they added human bones in there, somebody could come in and tear up the territory? I think they're probably well aware that if a human goes missing, others come looking.
Yeah.
It ain't like taking a deer. You shoot a deer, the rest of the herd doesn't come out like, hey, what the heck's going on out here? You know, humans tend to do that. A hunter goes missing, 30 guys show up with long guns, and they start looking for him. So they may not want to take a human unless they think they can get away with it.
Yeah, it might bring too much unwanted attention to them.
And I think that's a species type thing. I think certain ones don't care.
Mm-hmm.
For certain
Right.
types.
True.
Well, depending on how, if one has been shot with a gun, what reaction it has. If it just, if it leaves them something that itches for a few days, it probably isn't too scared about it. But
Right.
But
and the way the silence crept up on them, it gave me a cold chill because that's literally what happened to us.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which time?
On more than one occasion, yeah.
Well, and I still think that when me and you and Robbie and Wyatt all went to Combs Ferry that day in the daylight, I felt like we were getting paced. Did y'all
too?
Up until that guy come in there with the dogs.
I felt like we were getting paced and being watched. It was just, I don't know, man. All the hairs on the back of my neck stood up.
You notice that because we stopped and talked to that guy, and I asked him about seeing anything strange in there, and he not only did he deny it, then he changed the subject immediately.
Like a 180 degree turn.
He didn't want to talk to us anymore after that.
Nope.
Yep.
So I think people that live out in that area have seen it. They just don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was obvious we weren't out there just exercising like he was.
Right.
Well,
yeah, that was weird.
Right. Well, and I doubt the four of you suckers could, go someplace without just reeking of cop.
Probably.
So a lot of times people that live out there in places like that deliberately want to avoid certain official people.
Well,
and
just think about the old guy with the golf cart and Joe Ball, DA. How many times has that little son of a gun drove by us when we've been out there walking around?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, 4 or 5 times within a 30-minute span, right?
Yeah.
Down, staring at us. Up, staring at us.
Huh.
Yeah. Now whenever we see him, we just wave.
Yep.
William Nighthawk says radiation stops insects and scavengers. Miss Lene said we got 8 minutes till. So in about 4 minutes, we're going to have to take a quick pause to pay the bills, as Race is fond of saying. But we got 4 minutes, boys. So question for you boys and the audience: would you have ran? Would this have made you just basically drop everything and run?
I know better.
Well, I know us idiots would want to know what it was, but
so somebody have to be lassoing. It's I wouldn't run. I mean, and the thing is, as much as every instinct in your body is telling you to run, that's probably the last thing you want to do with something like that. I don't know.
Miss Lene caught it. Yeah, I killed that guy off in the last Lakeview. So that's a real guy. He shows up about every time we're down in Joe Ball during the day. We've never seen him at night. We see that golf cart every time we're down there during the day. Yeah, I couldn't resist doing
I
that in
didn't pick
Lakeview,
up
man.
on that. That's funny.
At night, you see that panel van.
Yeah, at night we see the all-service van. Well, we've only seen it that one time. We haven't seen it since.
Service.
Yeah, don't say what kind of service or even a phone number.
I mean, for all we know, it could be that guy.
Could be.
To go back to your question, I wouldn't run. I would basically drop some expletives at Robbie, and then just encourage everybody to go home.
So here's another question for you, and even those of y'all listening. Here's another question for y'all. Even those of you guys are listening, do you think it was the only creature out there in those woods?
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Making itself known.
The pattern is full.
Would you stop?
No, he be huffing because he got backup.
You're not a termite.
Yeah, I definitely think there was more than one. He heard one, didn't see or hear the others. In fact, they may have been above them in the trees.
I'd say that was the alpha that issued the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Halt, who goes there?
Robbie, it's like that video you sent me the other day. That video you sent me the other day. It looked like a gorilla, but it was in a pine tree. Right. There's no pines in the African rainforest.
You said looks like a gorilla. I said in a pine tree.
That tickled me.
Yeah, it was up a pine tree.
Oh yes, the old pine gorilla.
Yeah,
he was hunting for tree trout.
Those coniferous forests in the Congo.
Yeah,
the elusive pine gorilla.
Arlen says the chemical used for embalming will repel insects. I had a chemical used by Photoshop. I could sit on the riverbank all day. No insects bothered me.
They don't bother me either.
There's a thought. What if some of those bones had been dug up from a graveyard?
If there were any, it never said there were human bones in there, but
never said. But from the description, they didn't really stick around to take an inventory.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But the one down near Eminence, Missouri, they said they believed there were human bones in it, but they did not stick around to find out. They reported it to Missouri Department of Conservation. Conservation told them to stay the hell out of the area.
And why would they do that?
And just drop it.
Probably because they knew what was there and didn't want the public to find out.
Didn't want to have to clean up probably clean up another mess.
Well, boys, it is 5 minutes till, so we need to take a quick pause to pay the bills. Folks, this is a good time for you to top off your coffee, stretch your legs, head for the bathroom. We will be back in just a few minutes. My good man, Mr. Race, would you like to take it away from here with the commercials? I think Race left. I think we lost Race. Okay, here we go.
The Onyx Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full-spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Unnext Network website at unnextnetwork.com. That's unnextnetwork.com.
Hey everybody, this is Kerry Pocket Doc Davis from Dark Angel Medical, and you are listening to DA Ex Machina with DA Roberts. You may recognize me or some of my products from Dark Angel Medical in some of the Apex Predator, Lakeview Man, and Wild Hunt books, and you can get those products at www.darkangelmedical.com, along with training classes on how to use those products and save a life. Shoot us an email at info@darkangelmedical.com and be the difference.
The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unexmedia.com or amazon.com. In a world where monsters still walk the earth, one author dares to face them. From the brutal cryptid horror of the Apex Predator series to the Ozark legends that stalk the night in Lakeview Man, from the elite warriors of codename Wild Hunt to the relentless investigations of the Nightmare Hunter and the frontier terror of Dark Frontiers. When the Dead Rise, the Ragnarok Rising Saga unleashes pure zombie apocalypse fury. And across the stars, war rages in the Lost Legion and Man's Marauders. And in the realm of myth and steel, the world of Vanguard calls to those born for legend. Cryptids, zombies, sci-fi warfare, epic fantasy. This is the universe of D.A. Roberts.
And we are back, folks. Thank you guys for sticking with us. And we are going to jump right back into the middle of this because we got a lot of territory to cover tonight and a lot more stories to share. Doc, how about you take us out with story number 3?
All right. Sounds like a winner. Okay, so this is titled The Old Timer's Warning. He was the kind of Ozarks old timer that you don't meet much anymore. The kind who lived his whole life inside the Mark Twain and not beside it. A man with hands like old rope and skin tanned to leather and eyes that had seen more than he'd ever admit. He was the kind of man who didn't scare easy, didn't exaggerate, and he didn't waste words. You met him by accident. He was sitting outside a small bait shop near Lampe, whittling a piece of cedar into something that might have been a fish or might have been nothing at all. When you mentioned you were looking into strange stories from the forest, he didn't laugh, he didn't scoff, and he didn't roll his eyes. He just stopped carving. Slowly, deliberately, like the words you had said had weight. You're talking about that ridge, he said without looking up. You hadn't mentioned a ridge. You hadn't mentioned bones. You hadn't mentioned anything specific, but he knew. He set the carving down and leaned back into his chair and stared out toward the tree line like he was watching something only that he could see. That place has been wrong since I was a boy, he said, long before folks started talking about it, long before the lake came in, and long before the roads. He told you the first time he had seen the clearing was back in the early 70s. He had been out there hunting with his father, following a blood trail from a buck his dad had shot, and that trail had led them up a ridge through some thick brush into a clearing where the trees bent inward like they were trying to hide something. And in the center were bones. Not scattered, not chewed, not dragged, arranged, just like the other stories today. He said his father took one look, grabbed him by the collar, and said, "We're leaving now." They didn't talk about it on the walk back. They didn't talk about it that night. They didn't talk about it for years. But that old man never hunted that ridge again. The old timer paused then and rubbed his finger along the edge of the cedar carving. His eyes were distant and unfocused, like he was remembering something he wished he could forget. You ever see bark peeled off a tree 8-9 feet up? He asked. Shook your head. I have. More than once, and it ain't no bear. Bears tear bark sideways. This was pulled straight down, clean, like fingers. He held up his hand, long knotted fingers scarred from decades of work. Not fingers like mine, he said, longer. He told you about nights in the 80s when he'd hear something walking on 2 legs through the brush, heavy, deliberate steps that didn't match any animal he knew. He told you about seeing all the tall shapes moving between the trees at dusk, too big to be men and too smooth to be deer. He told you about the silence, the way the forest would go dead quiet when they were near. But the part that stuck with you was this. It ain't one creature, he said. Never was. That place, it's a site. A place they use. A place they come back to. You ask him who they were. He didn't answer at first. He just stared out in the woods, jaws tight and eyes hard. And finally he said, you don't want to see none. And if you do, you don't want it to see you. He picked up his carbine again, and his hands were shaking just a little, but enough for you to notice. And that was the end of the conversation. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't wish you good luck. He didn't tell you to be careful. He just went back to carbine, eyes fixed on that tree line like he was waiting for something to step out of it. And the way he watched those woods, you knew he wasn't afraid of the stories. He was afraid of the memories. True. Same. Isn't that crazy?
Funny how sightings from the 70s still match modern reports.
A lot of commonality there, man.
That means people have been spotting those bone piles out there for decades.
Right. Which means that you've got enough of the critters out there that it's a reproducing population, or you got some kind of geriatric cat squatch.
Yep.
Or that might be a place where they bring kills to I don't know, like trade or.
I was going to say it's like a swap meet.
Yeah, like a cryptid swap meet.
Yeah.
Or that might be an intersection of territory that they all respect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And those bones might be like just that marker.
Yeah.
Like road signs.
William's got a good point. Could be trophies.
Yeah. Trophy collecting.
Could be trophies. Yeah.
Good point. Either way,
Predator movies from this.
That means it's a long-term site. It's long-term area.
Yeah, with the canopy being pulled in and the bones in the center, and I mean, that's all. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
The way his father reacted is like he knew what that was.
Yep.
So that indicates to me that that goes back even farther than the 70s.
Well, like I said, I mean, if somebody knew this story in the 70s, they knew it because somebody older than them told them that.
Right.
Which means somebody older than that person told that person. I mean,
Right.
Nick just thought what I was about ready to say. What if they see it as a religious site? If we're talking about something with near human intelligence, could it be an altar?
Ooh, that's interesting.
That's a good question. That's a good point.
You would
maybe
keep
it's like a cryptid holy spot.
Yeah.
They bring their things there as an offering.
Yeah.
And maybe there's always one there guarding it.
Yeah.
Marrow's got value to these critters. It's some of the most nutritious part of the bones. What is it that it says in the not to get religious, but what they said in their Bible there, Doc? You take the best of your flock and donate it as a sacrifice. Old Testament stuff
as an offering. Yeah.
What about the tree with the bark stripped? How many trees did we see in Combs Ferry just like that?
Dude, when I was reading that, my mind went right back to that because it was those long strips. And this ain't trees that shed because, some trees shed their bark.
Right.
These trees out there it was just peeled. It was peeled straight down.
They were spruce.
Yeah.
Because we know the medicinal value was spruce bark.
Yeah. Because that was one off the side of the trail there. Robbie found one, didn't you?
Yep.
And we're pointing it out. That was weird, man.
And it wasn't on the trail. It
was back in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wyatt said took pics of that. Yeah. Wyatt took pictures of that tree that was stripped.
He sure did.
And it was higher than 6 or 7 feet. I couldn't reach where it ended. It was easy 10 feet up.
Yeah, at least 10 to 12 feet off. I mean, like from the ground all the way up to about 10 or 12 feet off the ground.
And I could see deer chewing the bark off, but not stripping it like that.
Right, and not unless that deer's got some good hops, man, to get up there.
That's right.
Or it's a
Low Patty, exactly. Spruce bark is medicinal. Yep. In fact, during the Civil War, they would use spruce resin and honey as a way to seal wounds. It was a natural antiseptic.
Yep. Same thing they'd use pine tar and white birch bark.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Isn't
you can actually chew that, and it has like an effect like acetaminophen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they use pine tar to close cuts and stuff like that too? Sometimes, Doc.
Yeah, and they'd put it in some kind of carrier and make a poultice out of it. I mean, it was very, very. I remember when DA was writing the first Dark Frontiers, and we were talking about all the old herbal remedies and medicine. Yeah. It's fascinating. Fascinating.
I remember calling Doc one night and saying, "All right, I need to pick your brain medically." He's like, "Uh-oh, what?" I'm like, "But you can't use anything you have in your kit right now." Right. He's like, "Uh-oh." I said, "All right, you're a field medic in the Civil War. How do I treat this?"
Dude, we talked. That was like a 3-hour conversation.
Easily, yeah.
Because we were sitting there Google Foo and everything. And it was an educational experience. It was very interesting.
It's amazing how much you can learn researching a book.
Yeah. Oh, amen.
I recently heard something from a wise man that said, if you suffer from it, the cure probably grows around you. Wonder where I heard that, Doc.
I don't know.
William says tree bark stripping is an alpha predator marking, but to be honest, trees make such good back scratchers. I can see they make a good back scratcher, but if its back is 12 feet off the ground, I don't want to run into it.
No, that's one back I don't want to see. Or actually, I'd rather see the back of it than the front of it.
Facts.
Because that means it's away from me. Holy crap, man.
So going back to the dad's reaction, I clearly he knew what that was.
Look,
oh yeah,
like we've talked about back then. You didn't have all the AI stuff. You didn't have all the internet stuff. Stuff was just matter of fact then. Yeah,
but it was just word of mouth. You heard from someone who hunted this area, or somebody who ran into this thing, or that. Yeah, like you said, there wasn't the Googles back then.
And people trusted what people said back then. Your word was your bond.
Right. Hi, Jessica.
Hey, Jess.
Yeah, that's that was interesting, and there's so many commonalities in this from the other two encounters, and so. Yeah, like William just said, remember, you can be dealing with something completely out of understanding. 100%.
Exactly. And that's the whole point of our little expeditions and shows like this and researching all these old stories is we want to try and understand. Sometimes we kind of get a little bit of insight, and sometimes we don't.
And this this old dude understood most definitely, because it shook him up. Him thinking back on that kind of stuff, even as a kid, it still shook him up. Robbie, how were you when you had your encounter?
About 8.
Yeah, still shakes you up to this day, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the way it has. That's it, man. Yeah.
Well, heck, I know it wasn't that long ago, but I still get goose pimples when I think about that night in Moon Valley.
Yeah, I do too.
That'll give you the heebies and the jeebies when you get to thinking about it.
Yeah. Make your pants brown, that's for sure.
Well, Doc's still traumatized by the dollhouse, and he only drove past it at a high rate of speed.
Nope.
Nope.
That is definitely the truth.
Staying away from there. No, thank you.
I didn't know a little bitty guy from Mississippi could turn into Stroker Ace.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Stroker Ace is, folks, it's a good old Burt Reynolds movie about a NASCAR driver. But yeah, Doc basically channeled his inner Stroker Ace that night.
And also a Charlie Daniels band song too.
Dang right.
Yep.
It takes some talent to do a 3-point turn in a Grand Cherokee at 60 miles an hour.
Oh, there wasn't 3 points. It was backwards and it was forwards. Was
Mario Andretti would have sure been.
Yeah, it was a full bootlegger's reverse.
Yeah, there was no K turn.
It was a full J turn.
Yeah. Like the line from the song said, "Take a dirt road curve with the devil's nerve and make a car dance across the mud."
It was more of an L turn.
It was a get your butt in the SUV and hold on turn.
Hey, I just told everybody, I said everybody got their belts on. I was like, all right, buckle up. We go.
And here we go.
Yeah, man.
So, bipedal footsteps.
Yep. Big bipedal footsteps too. If they can hear it from that far away.
And I clearly think this was not just one creature.
Oh, I would agree with that. I would agree. And,
Yeah,
and even the old man said it. He's like, you're not. There is more than one.
Roxanne, yes, you are correct. That is the night we had to basically Shanghai Robbie.
Yeah, I keep thinking of that. Have y'all seen that movie, Nothing to Lose? With what's his name? Martin Lawrence and
I haven't seen that.
Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins, thank you. Remember when Martin's character first tries to hijack him or carjack him, and he's like, "I'm not taking you anywhere. You're going to go back and pay for those Skittles or whatever the heck it was." And then the guy shoots out the back window of the car. And he's like, "Here we go." I'm picturing Doc.
It's okay.
Oh, poor little Doc.
Yeah, he probably heard a leaf fall outside, so he had to bark at it.
Oh, I think it might be getting cold. My poor little keen eyes had a haircut recently, and he's this changes in temperature gets him hopping up in laps whenever he gets an opportunity.
Yeah, he didn't appreciate the foot of snow we got the other night.
Because he could get lost in it.
Yes. Yeah. I had to shovel out a spot in the yard for him to go out there and do his business.
Doesn't like his transmission dragging in the snow, does he?
Little fella, poor little thing.
So, the end of that story, where the old man went back to whittling and his hands were shaking, if that happened to him when he was a kid, and he was still, that clearly had a profound effect on him.
That's a core memory.
Yeah.
That's a core memory right there, dude.
And, him basically just, okay, this conversation's over. We wasn't going to talk about it no more.
Yeah. I mean, he said what he was going to say, and that's all he was going to say. And it wasn't open for questions.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when asked about anything strange, no prompting about a ridge, no prompting about bones, he knew exactly what you meant by something strange.
It's kind of like some of the people you talked to back in the day whenever you were going around getting research questions answered, didn't it, DA?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I talked to those two old boys on the front step of that old general store in Sleeper, Missouri. And, yeah, that was a good conversation. And they, that was worth every penny I spent on them 2 bottles of soda pop.
That's about the sawmill, wasn't it?
Yep, they told me about that old sawmill. I'd still like to find that place.
I would too.
Wonder what's still out there, or if any of it's even left.
I bet
Whatever be out there be rusted up real bad, but be cool old artifacts to find.
Yeah.
Nothing else that'd give you some cool atmosphere for one of your stories.
Oh, definitely.
I bet you could, whatever county that is if they still have land records and everything, could probably
That's in Cleed County. That's the county I grew up in, so I might be able to go up there. I got cousins that might still have some contacts where I could do some digging.
Go to Lackland.
Good old Lackland County in the books. So this, not only did he have the encounter, his dad did well. This is a generational encounter.
Yeah.
And clearly, if the dad was aware of it beforehand, it had happened before then.
Yeah. And so let's say this is in the 70s, right? Let's say this kid's a young kid. Let's say this is in the 70s. If the dad's in the let's say early to mid 30s. Let's say early 30s. So that means the dad would have had to been born in the 40s.
At least. Yeah.
Right? And
I was born in 1970. My dad was born in 1924.
Right. See, I was born in 71. My dad was born in 32. And so, yeah, You think about it. So there's that generational stuff that Robbie was making note of earlier.
I mean, I'm slightly younger than y'all, but my dad was born in 49. So.
Yeah. So
Yeah, my dad was born in 24, and my grandfather was born in 1898. Where the banjo. Yeah, well, it's not quite Arkansas, but it is close enough to hear the banjo music.
Ding, 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 ding.
Pretty much.
So
that's why I keep the beard, because without it, I look too much like Ned Beatty.
You not only need to wear your brown pants, but you want to have on your tight brown pants.
Padlock on the belt buckle.
Oh my Lord! I was drinking that ginger ale, almost shot right out of my nose holes.
I'm sorry, Doc.
That's all right. Caught me mid swig. Oh, mercy.
I wonder if Amazon sells a chastity belt that you can hang a gun holster on.
What's worse?
Tactical chastity belt.
The people in Deliverance saying you sure got a pretty mouth, or Bigfoot saying you got a pretty mouth while you play.
I really, to be honest, I don't want either one.
Yeah, no. those are both not marriage situations.
No kidding.
Nope.
So here's a question for you and everybody that's listening as well. Do you guys, when you hear a story from an old timer like that, do you just instinctively trust it more than you would say something you read on the internet?
100%.
I would, yeah. Well, it's like Robbie had mentioned earlier. Back then, they're not prone to embellish, and their word was that was them. That was that's all they had was their word.
Well,
okay.
It's been my experience that they are people of few words, and so they make sure that those words are truthful and that they count. They ain't going to waste time with BS.
Right.
Right. So, what do you think he meant by a place they use?
I think it could be anything that we've talked about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Swap meet, sacred place could be a place where they put those out specifically to dry, to use as tools. Yeah, it could be a trophy case, like William said. I think the possibilities are kind of limitless as far as that goes. So who knows what the real reason that they're there for is? I mean, because it could be anything we've speculated on tonight. In my opinion, anyway.
No. So would you guys have asked him more questions, or would you just walked away? Because I kind of get the feeling he wasn't going to say much more.
That was my take on it too. He was done talking.
I would have tried to ask him questions because of who we are, but we ain't right.
Good point, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, any one of the four of us would have probably kept on asking questions for a little bit anyway, until you just come to the point where you're like, okay, he ain't gonna say nothing else.
Right.
But I mean, he said what he said, and that was it.
And he knew when you said something, when the subject was brought up of something strange, that's immediately what he said.
Yeah. Which is a big tell in itself.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
He went right there. First off, he knew exactly where he was going with that conversation.
Yeah. Well, in his life, that's probably the strangest stuff that he's seen. I mean, like you mean personally, if someone were to come up and they'd be clandestinely asking me about Combs Ferry, I would have been like, oh, you mean that place where you probably want to know about that place where the picnic tables are thrown in the middle of the road. I didn't say nothing about no picnic tables. Or where the trout was in the tree.
Missouri tree trout. And a deer shank.
Fans of the show out in the chat know that I am the agnostic when it comes to the cryptid stuff. And, the weirdest stuff I've ever seen in my life was what we saw at Combs Ferry, up to and including the point where I broke my dang leg.
Poor old Steve.
Yeah. But hey, at least you didn't pee on a tree with one behind it. Not that time anyway. I'm
getting better.
It's a good point.
Getting better.
That's a good point.
Yep. And
but if he hadn't broke his leg, who knows? He may have.
I'm still thankful that I would have loved to have had Doc there, but because he wasn't there, I was Doc, and the rest of the group protected Doc. So I
And we put him in the middle and kind of fanned out around him.
Nobody touches Doc.
Yep.
And I mean, in fairness, I had 2 Dark Angel kits with me, of various specifications. So I was Doc.
I think between the group of us, there was about 8 kits on the ground.
Yeah. I had an ouch pouch and my Dark, which are the only 2 kits I got, but they was with me.
You can't ever have too many.
I had 2 darks, a spear, and an ouch pouch, and Robbie had a couple.
I guess mine's a spear.
Gotta be prepared.
That's right.
My dark and my EDC.
Yeah. You can't ever have too many, man. Especially in a situation like that, to be quite honest with you. You know what I mean?
That's the first thing I did when we hit the ground. Was we did the safety brief, and I made sure everybody had or knew where to get a first aid kit. We all had one.
I was going to say you let everybody know where the where all the med kits were, and you let everybody know where the extra mags were,
and who was carrying what.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Medical and ammo.
I wouldn't have wanted to be the human sacrifice, but if I went down, I want to make sure y'all got all my ammo and got my med kits.
Well, it would have been over. It would have been over our dead bodies, Steve. That's why we put you on the first boat out.
I'm just saying, loot my body, son. If it comes down to it, loot my body.
If you're going to let somebody get at, don't let it be the guy that's going to put you back together.
Thank you, William Nighthawk. I appreciate it.
Well, in fairness, if I hadn't broke my leg, you wouldn't have been quite so protective of me. But
well, yeah, we still probably would have been.
I'd have walked 3 miles on a broken leg.
That we covered a lot of territory with you having a broken leg. I was surprised. That's why when you said you found out it was broken, I was like, God dang, he walked a long way on a broken leg.
Yeah.
Well, when I broke my foot years ago in a work-related thing, the occupational medicine doctor, because I'd worked a whole shift and a couple days with it after the fact, he said, I'm impressed with your pain tolerance, but not so much with your intelligence. So that might have been appropriate in this other situation too.
Jeff Yarrington says there's a trash can stuck in a tree in Mississippi that's been there for over 10 years, according to some researchers I know. Well, there's a little brick building there at Combs Ferry that was probably where the guy who handed out the camping slips when you'd say, I want to get a campsite for the night. He would assign them or tell you where to go, gave out maps. That building looked like a bomb went off in it. And it was a brick building. It is smashed.
Yep.
Scary.
Chris Artigue says you really have to treat those research outings like a military op. We do. We do a safety brief before we go in. We make sure everybody's got access or is at least carrying a med kit. We've got ammo distribution. We've got a regrouping point if we get separated. We go in with a full plan, and our plan is never to go in and shoot one of these things, but our plan is to come out safely.
No, this last time I was thankful we did our comms check. We had the comms, the team comms that we could use, which was really helpful.
Yeah, those headsets, not only are they good for comms, but they also boost your ability to hear what's going on around you.
Yep.
Yeah,
those are great.
I don't think we would have heard them pacing us that night in Joe Ball, Doc, if we hadn't had those.
I agree. When it was pacing us off to the left of us.
Yeah, I was telling DA that was it Wednesday night we were talking about that, DA. I said I don't think we would have known that they were pacing us because when we walked up that ridge, when we got up there, you could hear the rain, but you were right behind me, and I stopped and I pointed to this side and off that, and you was like, because we could hear something walking. Yep. As soon as we stopped, it stopped. But I don't think we would have heard that over the rain and everything else.
But the woods are so thick out there.
Yeah, especially with my deaf butt. Good Lord.
Well, I'm in the same boat you're in, son. But no, it was really cool having you guys with. I did feel, I had never had the honor serving, but I definitely felt like I was part of an op. And I knew that if I didn't come out, my body would be found with a ton of brass around it. And that meant a lot to me, that at least I knew I was as safe as one could be making those decisions.
I remember my old Lieutenant Jenkins, who went with us. I think he's listening to us tonight. He's working tonight. But if LT, if you're listening, this is a big shout out to you. But I remember when we got done, he looked over at me and goes, "I need a bigger gun for the next time." and now he has a Desert Eagle 50.
Well, LT, I appreciate you coming back when I came back to help guard my stupid butt, because I was slightly freaked out by the time we got back to the dock, and you were a calming influence.
We all heard that popping sound when Steve's paradigm shifted.
His clutch popped.
Yeah, absolutely. You could smell the burning rubber.
Gears grinding, everything.
You guys ready for the next story?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. This one's called The Silence Around the Ridge. There are places in the Mark Twain National Forest where the world feels alive, where the wind moves through the trees like breath, where birds chatter from dawn to dusk, where squirrels rustle through the leaves like tiny frantic machines. The Ozarks are noisy. They're supposed to be noisy, which is why the ridge stands out. Hunters talk about it quietly, like they're afraid the woods might hear them. They don't give it a name. They don't mark it on maps. They just call it that quiet place, or the dead ridge, or sometimes nothing at all. Just a look, a nod, and a tightening of the jaw. One hunter described it like this. You don't notice it first. You're walking, listening to the woods like you always do, and then realize you're hearing your own footsteps too clearly. Another said, it's like the forest is holding its breath. The silence doesn't hit all at once. It creeps in. First the birds stop, then the squirrels, then the insects, then even the wind. It's not a natural quiet of early morning or the soft hush before a storm. It's a vacuum, a sudden absence of life, like the world has been muted. One hunter said he didn't realize how quiet it was until he heard his own heartbeat in his ears. Another said he could hear the fabric of his jacket shifting when he moved. A third said the silence was so complete it felt like pressure, like the air itself was pushing against him. And it always happens in the same place. A narrow strip of ridge west of Lampe, Missouri, where the trees grow tall, old, and their branches form a canopy so thick that sunlight filters down in thin, pale shafts. The ground is soft with decades of leaf litter. The air is cool even in the summer, and the deeper you walk into it, the heavier the silence becomes. One hunter, a man who had spent 30 years in the woods, said he felt watched the entire time he was on that ridge. Not from one direction, not from one spot, from every direction at once. He said it felt like they were tracking him from the tree line, from behind the rocks, from the shadows between tree trunks, not moving, not circling, just watching him. Another hunter said he felt something else, something worse. He said the silence felt intentional, like the forest wasn't quiet because nothing was there. It was quiet because something was there, and everything else was hiding. He described walking into the ridge and feeling the hair on his arms stand up. He said the air felt colder, heavier, like stepping into a cellar. He said he could feel the weight of the woods pressing in around him, like the trees themselves were holding their breath. He didn't stay long. None of them do. Every hunter who's walked that ridge says the same thing. You don't run, you don't shout, you don't make noise, you just leave. Because the silence isn't empty, it's full. Full of tension, full of pressure, full of something waiting. Something that doesn't want to be seen, something that doesn't want to be disturbed, something that watches from the shadows and decides silently whether you're allowed to stay or go, or allowed to leave at all. And every hunter who's walked that ridge says the same thing when they tell the story. The silence wasn't the scary part. The scary part was knowing that it wasn't natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that prey animals react before we do. Their instincts are a lot more keyed into the woods. So if you've got prey animals going quiet, like squirrels and deer and stuff, if they're going quiet, there's something there.
Right. Yeah, if they shut up, you better follow suit.
If the squirrels and the birds are going, there's something in the area.
Yeah, it's like if you got your dog with you. What we say the other night on the show. If your dog, trust your dog, man. If your dog freaks out and tucks tail and runs, you better follow him because he's doing that for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you think about it in these situations, we are the unknown. We're the weirdness in that area. If we don't cause the wildlife to shut up,
Right.
I don't want to mess with what does.
Exactly.
Amen to that, brother.
Boys,
well,
I need to step away for just a minute. Can you guys cover for me?
Sure, absolutely.
My friend Rick that I talk about, the ex-ranger, he always says, he kind of paraphrases the 23rd Psalm, and he says, "Yea, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, because I'm the meanest whatever in the valley."
Yep.
And when you ain't,
Yeah,
But and that's the thing, and I think you hit on that, Steve.
Yeah.
Because go back to mine and Jessica's little thing when the first time that we had that happen in Georgia. We were sitting out there talking, and things, it was just like we were at a concert. It was so loud out there, and all of a sudden everything just stopped. They weren't affected by us because we've been out there 20, 30 minutes just talking, and crickets and cicadas and tree frogs and all that stuff was just going, and nothing was even phased by us. And all of a sudden everything just stops. That's a weird feeling.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and like you said, Steve, if they don't shut up for us, but they shut up for something else, that means something else is way bigger and way better than we could even hope to be.
Well, most of the time I'm in the woods, here late, especially thanks to you all. I'm 6 feet, 200 pounds of armed and ugly. If I'm not scaring them, what is that?
Right. No, absolutely, man. Yep. Yeah. I mean, because if it's that big, and if it's making them hush, and I'm not, well, I'm gone. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to that measuring of reproductive organs we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
I'm gonna get.
Yeah, I'm gonna be leaving real quick.
So, what do you guys think about even the air temperature seems to drop?
The air temperature dropping is interesting.
I wonder if that's just, and Steve, you and Doc chime in on this. I wonder if that's just, people talk about when you get your blood running cold. I wonder if it's not really temperature dropping, but just that
perception.
fear response that people are getting in a situation like that makes it feel like the temperature is dropping versus the temperature actually dropping. Like you said, perception, Steve.
Well, yes, perception. You get the burst of adrenaline. Your fight or flight response kicks in, and all the blood is drawn to your extremities, and you're getting keyed up to either take on a bear or outrun the bear. When the flip side of that nervous system kicks in, and you're getting the norepinephrine dump, and you're switching back into your feed and reproduction mode. All the blood draws back to the inside, so everything's going to feel cold. You've heard of veterans and stuff like that, and cops talk about getting the shivering poops. After one of those events.
PNS backlash.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. I was going to say, Doc probably knows more about this than I do, but the first code I ever worked, it felt like that the room had dropped to 40 degrees, and all I could do was sit there in the hall and throw up and shiver. And I had some GI upset for about a good 12 hours after that.
That sounds like me after my first jump.
Well,
me before a jump.
When you get the heebie-jeebies in the woods, especially in an area with the canopy over, and I've been down to Blunk Road in the summertime when that canopy is in full bloom, it is cooler down there.
Well, that's true as well. I mean, the ground wouldn't have absorbed as much.
The humidity isn't any better, but it's still Missouri humid.
Well, and if you've got humidity, that if the temperature is dropping, that's going to make it feel cooler because it's going to be like an evaporative, cooling type situation. You know what I mean?
Oh, did I tell you boys what I found last time Noah and I went down to Blunk Road?
I don't know. Maybe
we found trails leading off into the woods.
Really? From where we parked?
You know where we parked, there was that area I told you not to go up because you'll get stuck.
Yeah.
Up that embankment. We walked up that embankment and went back into the woods and found trails following the river.
Where I was headed, where y'all told me to get back in the truck.
Yeah, we found a pretty clear trail.
Wow. Any tracks, any print, anything you could see? Any
Not that we saw. We didn't follow it very far. It was just the two of us, and we were only lightly armed.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Kind of like when me and you went in the woods there at Joe Ball that night.
We were both carrying 9s, and we weren't going to go too deep in the woods.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Yeah, that's weird, man. How big was the trail? How wide was it?
It was bigger than a game trail. Clearly, it had been used a lot, but it wasn't like I don't think I'd try to take like a mountain bike down it or anything.
Huh. I'd like to go back.
You get bushwhacked pretty hard.
That'd be kind of fun to go to check it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd definitely be down.
Well,
God knows how far back it goes.
You know, but trail isn't maintained by somebody professionally. It's maintained by use. What's using
Right.
it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Very interesting question. Roxanne says, I get dreams sometimes of you guys wrangling Robbie on Blunk Road. Yeah, that's why Noah's job is the official Robbie Wrangler, because Robbie does tend to like to just go straight at it and see what's going on.
Well, what he lacks in intelligence, he makes up for in dedication and interest.
Yeah, he definitely. I mean, but you know, the thing is, I wasn't, because we pick and say, oh yeah, with the Robbie Wrangler or whatever. It was at that point, it was just concern for a brother. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
I'm like when you two got ahead, where me and Noah were on the bridge there in Moon Valley.
Yeah, we laugh about it now, but at the time it was pretty serious.
When I saw that, I was like, holy crap, guys, y'all come on back. Because that was concerning for me, especially when I saw what I saw to the right. You know,
yeah, I wasn't concerned until you told us that one was coming in behind us.
Yeah,
and at that point, I grabbed Robbie by the shoulder and I covered that direction while I was backing him up.
Yeah, it was kind of scary, man. That made it get real fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
well, once you start getting flanked, you know you're dealing with something intelligent, or at least intelligent enough to hunt you.
Absolutely, man. And Robbie that night when we were at Blanc Road, Robbie's like, "Come here, Doc. Look at this." And right as when he said that, he said that thing's getting closer. It was like Ford, and I was like, "Yeah." And as soon as he said that, what did that thing do? It turned.
Mm-hmm.
The head turned and looked and blinked real slowly. I was like,
and we saw the eye shine blink. Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's enough. I'm convinced.
And when Noah and I went back down there in broad daylight, that again, nothing in the water.
Oh man.
And then I started walking toward the dock. So, where are you going? I said, I want to see a little. I want to get a little bit closer. He said, get your butt back up. Let's go. Go get the truck. Let's go.
I'm like, it's good. We can see it from where we are. We're good.
I got my good glasses on. I can see it from here.
All right, exactly. Ain't that right, man?
So,
well,
what do you guys think about this one? Because multiple hunters described it didn't just seem like it was coming from one direction; it was coming from all around them.
Well, like we talked before, I think there's more than one.
Yeah,
exactly. That would suggest more than one presence there.
Yeah, I like you said, granted, the four missing 411s that you feel like it's the ones that took the shot, and it wasn't maybe necessarily the one that they took the shot at that is the ones that got them.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and we keep talking about the low frequency sound and the infrasound that we're hearing from this stuff. Anybody who's any kind of an audiophile and has a home stereo system or whatever, subwoofers, you can point them at the ground and blast them into the ground, and it still surrounds the room. It's not directional like higher frequencies are.
Right.
It's just it's immersive.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, in each of these cases, do you think that was a territorial warning or quite possibly hunting tactics?
I honestly, I don't think any of these that we read tonight have been hunting. I think they've all been territorial.
Either territorial or investigational.
Yeah, I would agree with that territorial thing too, because it never got aggressive, right? None of these are aggressive encounters. It's just basically, to me, it's like them going, "Hey, dude, you're in our living room, or you're in
That's
our
far enough.
yeah, that's far enough." Yeah, exactly. Kind of like all right, y'all back off now, skedaddle,
Yeah.
youngster.
Y'all seen
Oh,
enough.
when we go out to places like this, are we kind of the Jehovah's Witnesses of the area?
Oh, they don't
Yeah.
like us. Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
like us in there.
Wait,
So the bone pile was their no soliciting sign.
Yeah, yeah, we're all candygram for Mongo.
Uncle like candy.
Yeah,
we make the ugliest barbershop quartet you ever saw.
you ain't lying.
Yeah, I feel like all these have been strictly no trespassing warnings.
Yeah,
That's
agreed.
far enough.
You know what? When they use the phrase, it felt like the woods were holding its breath.
Mm.
That one sticks with me because we felt that.
It's almost like there is a pressure change. You know what I mean? You can actually feel the pressure change in there. Chris Artigue, hey Doc, have you heard any sightings in Brookhaven, Mississippi? No, I mean Brookhaven's not far from where I grew up, but I haven't heard of any sightings there. I hadn't lived in Mississippi in almost 23 years, man. So, I hadn't lived in Mississippi longer than that. I was living in Alabama and North Carolina before I moved out here.
Here's a thought for you boys. These are all talking about a specific ridge west of Lampe, Missouri. Traditionally, ridge lines have been used as boundary markers.
Mm-hmm.
What's beyond that ridge is so-and-so's land, that kind of thing.
That's
this far, no farther.
That's a really good point, man.
What if that ridge is where multiple territories come together and there are guardians of that spot?
It's kind of like their four corners.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a very good point.
That's a really good point, man.
This Lampe wouldn't be the first place that we have heard is contested real estate between multiple factions of critter.
Well, think about that place we talked about in was it Tennessee, DA?
Mm-hmm.
Where it seems like if you pull 20 sightings from around that one area, which is close to Werewolf Springs, if I'm remembering correctly, when you start pulling them, you'll have like 15 different descriptions. Like this person will describe what maybe is like a Honey Island swamp monster, and this person will describe what is more like a Gugway, and this person describes this. Could be like that, and it's just one of those, four corners, like Doc just said. I would assume there's not more than one of those areas in the United States.
Is this ridge west of Lampe going like towards Table Rock Lake?
Yes.
Is it called Black Oak Ridge?
I have never seen it actually marked on a map. The way it's always been described to me was west of Lampe toward the lake.
Okay, and I'm looking on Topo right now. I got a Topo map pulled up, and you can see that there's a big long ridge that's like 1,200 feet above ground level there, and
that's pretty tall for Missouri.
It's headed right towards Table Rock Lake. Yeah, it's 1,200 feet.
And that's probably it.
Yeah, the highest point in Missouri is only 1,400 feet.
Yeah, that's pretty tall. Yeah, Black Oak Ridge is the name of it, and it's
sounds like a great place to start.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah, let me see. There are some access roads. It looks like you can get in there as well. Yeah,
as long as it ain't like the ridge in the Roosevelt stories.
Yeah. Broken Arrow Estates Road is the road. So there is a developed road going in there. Interesting. Okay, that's heading right towards Table Rock Lake, man.
Okay.
Well,
Well, it sounds like a great place to start.
Yeah.
that would make sense. So if you think about, because you said all these places that we've talked about as hotspots, that ridge kind of seems like it's central to a lot of these places.
Well, remember what we've said. Combs Ferry felt different than Joe Bald. Combs Ferry would be on the side of the ridge toward Lampe, but Joe Bald would be on the opposite side.
Yeah.
So I was
Because Joe Bald's on the other side of the lake, farther west.
That's
So I was
interesting.
just doing a little bit of looking on the Googles. Bet y'all never guess what the closest incorporated community is to Black Oak Ridge.
What's that?
Lampe.
Lampe?
Yep.
Yep,
I think we found the place to start.
Yeah,
I think so.
that's
They
very
even
interesting.
gave me the GPS coordinates and an elevation of 1,227 foot.
There you go.
Yes, I guess you're right, Doc.
Yeah.
Route
'Cause
13, just south of Table Rock Lake.
okay. So
And for a UPD, I don't know if the ley lines actually go over that area, but there is a couple of ley lines that pass through southwest Missouri. So if it's not directly on a ley line, it's close to one.
Have y'all ever heard of the Swiss Villa Resort? It's basically right there at the end of that point.
Yeah, I know where it's at.
So you come right through. You go right through Black Oak Ridge to get to that Swiss Villa Resort right there on the lake.
Do you remember the in Dead of Winter where Margolin first used the rocket launcher?
Yes.
That's right there. That's right out there in that same area.
Okay.
That's
Did we
that exact same area.
Did we drive by that?
Yes, we did.
Okay,
Sure did.
Yeah.
In fact, when we went down 65 and then turned off to head toward Combs Ferry, we drove right past it.
Yeah, the three of us when we were going to Combs Ferry and when we drove around.
And when we went down there and met Wyatt,
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
that's
we
right.
drove right by it.
That's right.
It's also similar to close to the place where the original Nightmare Hunter dude shot the Bigfoot in the junk, isn't it? With the flare gun.
That was actually just outside of Kimberling City, between Kimberling City and between Kimberling City and Silver Dollar City. Do you
So it's
remember where those
closer to
old those mansions were being built, and then they ran out of funding and they just sat there empty? Right there.
Okay, so closer to Joe Bald than to Lampe.
Yeah. Right.
Gotcha.
Much closer.
how far is this from Ha Ha Tonka?
Oh, Ha Ha Tonka's up at Lake of the Ozarks. Where we were at at Moon Valley, we were about halfway between Springfield and Ha Ha Tonka at that point.
Okay,
Yeah, it's the Ha Ha Tonka's the other direction.
but it would be on an opposite side from some of this other.
Oh
stuff.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. In fact, Ha Ha Tonka, from my house, if we'd have went to Ha Ha Tonka and got on the river, where you guys had the UFO sighting down the river was much closer to Ha Ha Tonka. Ha Ha Tonka is on Lake of the Ozarks, right where the Niangua River comes into it.
But another boundary.
And we've been saying for years they use those rivers like highways.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ha Ha Tonka would be part of the Lake of the Ozarks watershed, right there at where what they call the Niangua Arm, where the Niangua River dumps in. There's also a lake right there near Ha Ha Tonka called Lake Niangua, where there's been about a dozen sightings of Bigfoot.
But that would also be another hot spot that's central to that.
Oh,
ridge.
very much so. Right.
Tying them threads in, Doc.
Right. Exactly.
And what connects all of these? Waterways.
Yeah. I still stand by the fact that it's we got overlapping territories around here. There is no way Podunk, Missouri has got that many sightings of different critters and things linked to different critters. And I'm convinced that's why that time that Robbie was howling down there at Bald, the things got all exciting real quick, because unfortunately he wasn't on the howler's side of things when he was doing it.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely what got the attention we got down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's one thing that whenever I was down there, I remember I was saying to DA, I was like, man, Missouri is kind of like a freaking hotbed of all kinds of activity and reports and sightings, and it's not like you said, it's not one freaking thing. It's a whole bunch of scary critters. You know what I mean?
Look at the sheer amount of national forest we have, not to mention state parks,
Right.
plus the massive amount of waterways,
Yeah.
massive lakes and caves,
There's
Speaking of
food,
caves,
water, and hiding spots.
and millions of deer.
Yeah.
speaking of caves, how does Smiddle Cave fall? Where does
Okay. The headwaters of the Niangua, where the river starts, is in Webster County, and Smiddle Cave is just over the county line from Webster County into, I believe that is Wright County. Yeah, so it's just across the county line. There's a little town out there called Niangua. And that's near the town of Niangua is where the Niangua River actually starts. And it flows all the way to Lake of the Ozarks. But not far from that is, of course, you get the little town of Niangua itself. You've got another little town called Grove Springs, and that's maybe 15 miles away from there. And Smiddle Cave is literally just outside of Grove Springs.
Yeah. I got to thinking about that experience down there at Moon Valley. We just got to make sure that we let you know what hood you're in before you start flashing gang signs there.
No kidding. Make sure you're doing the right calls.
Right.
So, folks, here's a good question for y'all at home. What would you do if you were in the woods and it just went dead quiet like that? And I know what we've done. The four of us are not the brightest bulbs in the pack. That generally just gets us excited and gets us going a little farther in.
Yeah. That's like candy to us, man.
No
Like, hey,
kidding.
ooh, piece of candy?
Yeah, it's like Chris Pratt. That look.
exactly. We're like, ooh.
It goes dead quiet, and we're all like,
Yeah.
"Guys, kids hear that?"
Y'all hear that? No, I don't hear anything. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're like Mr. Smithers off the Simpsons. Excellent.
Exactly. Does this sound like territorial behavior to you, or do you think that they were actually being stalked?
I'm thinking territorial because I'm thinking if they wanted to stalk, they wouldn't have been heard.
Yeah.
They were heard because they wanted to be heard.
Yeah, the more I hear stories like this, and I've said for a long time that I think cryptids are at least partially behind the missing 411. But I the more I hear stories like this, the more I think that we're not necessarily on the menu unless like we take a shot, or if we go too far and don't heed the warnings. I don't think they're actively hunting people, but I'm not saying that doesn't mean they won't.
I think would be a meal of opportunity, kind of like when you see the hippos eating crocodiles. It's like, well, you done pissed me off, so I'm gonna eat you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I agree.
I am almost toxic says it's one of the oddest sensations using climbing spikes in an oak tree 20 feet dark before sunrise and it went dead quiet. It is an unnerving feeling. It really is.
Well, what's the term they use? Deafening silence.
Yeah, a silence so loud it's deafening. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Word for till, my man.
Okay, it is time for us to take another quick commercial break, folks. So if you need to top off your coffee, stretch your legs, or hit the bathroom, we're going to take another quick commercial break. Then we'll be back because we still got a couple more stories to share with you folks. So we will be right back. Thank you guys very much for sticking with us.
The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unexmedia.com or amazon.com.
Hey everybody, this is Kerry Pocket Davis from Dark Angel Medical, and you are listening to DA Ex Machina with DA Roberts. You may recognize me or some of my products from Dark Angel Medical in some of the Apex Predator, Lakeview Man, and Wild Hunt books, and you can get those products at www.darkangelmedical.com, along with training classes on how to use those products and save a life. Shoot us an email at info@darkangelmedical.com and be the difference.
The Unex Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full-spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes, made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Unex Network website at unexnetwork.com. That's unexnetwork.com. In a world where monsters still walk the earth, one author dares to face them. From the brutal cryptid horror of the Apex Predator series to the Ozark legends that stalk the night in Lakeview Man, from the elite warriors of codename Wild Hunt to the relentless investigations of the Nightmare Hunter and the frontier terror of Dark Frontiers. When the Dead Rise, the Ragnarok Rising saga unleashes pure zombie apocalypse fury. And across the stars, war rages in the Lost Legion and Man's Marauders. And in the realm of myth and steel, the world of Vanguard calls to those born for legend. Cryptids, zombies, sci-fi warfare, epic fantasy. This is the universe of D.A. Roberts.
And we are back again, folks. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We're having a great time tonight. Doc, you want to pick us up with story 5?
Yeah, man, I'll do that.
All right.
In story 5, this is an encounter called the deer that vanished mid-chase. He had been hunting the Ozarks for 30 years, long enough to know every trick a wounded deer can pull. He had tracked them through creeks, across ridges, into thickets so dense that you had to crawl. He had seen deer double back, circle, bed down, even swim across coves to escape. But he had never seen one do what this one did, and that's disappear. It was late afternoon. The sun was sinking low and turning into a forest gold, and he was set up on the ridge west of Lampe, a place he had hunted since he was a teenager. The woods were alive. Birds were calling, squirrels were chattering, and the distant hum of insects. Nothing unusual, nothing strange, and then the buck stepped out. A big-bodied 10-pointer, thick neck, heavy antlers, the kind of deer you remember the rest of your life. He raised his rifle, he exhaled, and he fired. The shot was clean, and he knew it the moment he pulled the trigger. The buck kicked, stumbled, and bolted downhill, leaving a bright, heavy blood trail. He waited a few minutes and followed. The trail was perfect, bright blood, steady, textbooked. And he followed it down the ridge, across a narrow game path and into a little shallow draw. Now, the forest was getting quiet now, not silent, just getting settled into the evening. And he started moving slowly, looking ahead for the buck's body. The blood trail went on for about another 20 yards, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. Not thinned out. It wasn't smeared, it wasn't scattered, it just stopped. Like it wasn't there. A perfect clean end in the middle of a patch of leaf litter. He frowned and he crouched and he checked the ground. And he looked around. There was no drag marks. There was no disturbed leaves. There was no broken branches. There was nothing. Just a single deep impression in the soil, like something heavy had landed there.
Landed like it dropped out of a tree.
He stood there slowly, scanning the trees, looking around. Where the hell did you go? He muttered. But he took a few more steps forward, maybe, hopefully, expecting to find the deer who was collapsed nearby. But something felt wrong. The woods felt wrong. The air was still. It was too still. And it was the kind of stillness that puts a pressure on you against your skin. He realized he couldn't hear anything. No birds, no insects, no wind, just his own breathing. He knelt again and he studied the ground some more, and the blood trail had ended abruptly. It hadn't tapered, it hadn't splattered, it hadn't smeared. It just ended, like the deer had been there and then lifted straight off the ground. He checked the trees for hair, looking around. Nothing. He checked the brush for drag marks. Nothing. He checked the soil for tracks. Still nothing. And just that single deep impression, it was too deep for a deer, too round for a boot, and too wide for a bear. He stood up. His heart was pounding now, and he looked around, and that's when he smelled it. A faint metallic scent, not blood, not rot. It was something colder and sharper, like the air right before a lightning strike. He took a step back, and then he heard it. A low, heavy thud. Somewhere behind him, not a footstep, not a branch breaking, a landing. Something had dropped from a tree. He spun. His rifle was raised, and he scanned the tree line. Nothing moved, nothing breathed, nothing made a sound, but he felt it. A presence was watching him, studying him. He backed up slowly and kept his rifle trained on the trees, and the silence pressed in around him, thick and suffocating. He could feel his pulse in his throat. And then from somewhere deep in the brush, he heard a sound he'll never forget. A slow, deliberate exhale. Not human, not deer, and not bear. It was something bigger and something heavier that had been holding its breath. And he didn't run, he didn't shout, and he didn't turn back. He walked out of the woods one slow step at a time, never lowering his rifle, never looking away from the tree line. And when he reached his truck, the forest sounds returned. Faint at first, and then all at once, like the woods were releasing that breath that they had been holding. He never went back to that ridge, and when he tells that story now, he always ends it the same exact way. A deer doesn't just vanish. Something took it, and whatever took it was waiting for me to notice.
That's like when my story where my deer vanished.
I got freaking chills, man. That's what we were just talking about the first of the show, wasn't it?
Yep.
You know what? I would say that his deer just vanish is a keystone saying, like, your thermal don't lie.
Yeah, that's exact. I was just thinking that when I read that too. I was like, "Yep, just like my thermal don't lie." And dude, when he heard, not only did he hear the thud of something coming down, but what else did he hear that has a common trait with all these stories?
That deep exhale.
That big old exhale. That deep exhale. Yeah. Wow.
Well, when he was talking about finding the impression where the blood trail ended, yeah, it's like something dropped out of the tree on that deer.
Exactly.
So we're talking something agile enough to drop out of a tree, have the strength to pull a deer back up in the tree with it.
That takes some strength.
And then find somewhere to throw that deer up in a tree.
Right. You figure it's a 10-point deer, you're talking, unskinned, 150 pounds?
Probably maybe a little more.
Maybe I'd say
about 180.
160 to 200, yeah, something like
with
that.
With everything still inside, yeah, way hard.
You a 10-point like that, you probably field rested at 140.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but even still, 120, 140, 180. That's 100
That's-
some odd pounds of freaking dead meat.
I'm about to say of dead weight.
Yeah, to haul up into a freaking tree, son.
Well,
Meat
it would be
pudding with
like,
popsicle sticks.
well, it's going to be like one of us, picking up Doc, climbing up a tree with him, stowing him someplace, and going back down.
Yep. Like I said, meat pudding with popsicle sticks.
Yeah, meat pudding with popsicle sticks. I've never heard it put like that, but that is very accurate. Yeah. That's creepy. But it's very common, and again, nothing aggressive. This wasn't an aggressive encounter.
Right. It just took his deer, which is exactly what happened to me.
None of them have been aggressive.
Nope. They all have
They've
that.
been more.
Retriever DoorDash.
I mean,
Yeah, more of a warning.
yeah, I'm sure the people that were involved with it felt like it was aggressive because you in that situation, you probably gonna feel that way. But look, us outside looking in, if it wanted it to be aggressive, it would have been. Like I said, we wouldn't have had these stories. They would have been probably on the missing 411 or something like that. But like I said, this one too, same feeling, territorial.
Yep.
Get out of my yard. Get out
Now
of my house.
there are missing hunters in that area. They're rare, but it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did the Gran Torino. Get off my lawn.
And in fact, just a few years ago, they found a skeleton of a hunter that had been missing for years down there in the Mark Twain.
Really?
Well, ain't there places
That
in the
wasn't
Twain
that long ago.
ain't there places in the Twain that haven't even been seen by people?
Yeah.
At least not in hundreds of years.
And this is a great question from just a guy who yaps. DA, it wasn't aggressive in the moment. Didn't your Uncle Buddy warn you that if you continue to track in the direction where your deer disappeared, you would have had different consequences?
Exactly. He told me to get out of there. If I went looking for that deer any farther, I wasn't coming back out.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Had these people not erred on the side of caution and said, you know what, I'm listening to my lizard brain and I'm getting out of here.
Well, at 16, I didn't listen to that. I was thought I was the be all end all 9 feet tall and bulletproof.
Yeah.
Chew concertina wire and spit bullets. I thought I was indestructible. So I didn't really have that survival instinct to not chase it. I was mad. I wanted that deer back.
Wow. Dang, man.
Yeah, Uncle Buddy on the radio very calmly saying, I told you not to go down in that area. Get out of there. If you keep looking for that deer, you're not coming back out.
Oh.
But had you not listened to him,
might have been a different story.
Right.
No one would have ever heard of D.A. Roberts.
Well, thankfully you at least have some transient common sense.
By extension.
thankfully Uncle Buddy told him to get his butt out of there, and he listened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uncle Buddy was one of those guys, when he spoke, you listened.
Man.
He was just one of those guys that when he could joke with the best of them, and I love shooting snooker with him. I mean, you weren't going to beat him, but when his tone dropped a little and the tone of voice got that gravitas to it, you listened.
Yeah. So my dad always had to look at me, and all he had to say was, "Boy." Yes, sir.
I remember one time him and I was out at his place. We were getting ready to go deer hunting, and we always trusted his instincts. And we went out on his deck and we're watching the fog over the Niagara River Valley, because his house was up on a bluff overlooking the Niagara River Valley. And we were sitting out there drinking coffee. And he said, all right, well, we're going to get in the truck. We're going to go down to the river bottom, and I'll drop you, and then I'll come back up the riverways toward the house, and then we'll meet back at the truck around noon. I'm like, okay. And we put everything up, washed our coffee cups, grabbed our rifles, and he went out the back door first. And he went out the back door maybe just a step, maybe two, and he froze. And I don't know why. I didn't see what he saw. He just put his hand up for me to stop and not come out the door. And then he backed into the door and shut the kitchen door and goes, put some coffee on. This ain't the day to hunt.
Wow.
Mm.
Didn't say why. Said, we'll hunt tomorrow.
Wow.
Said, we're not going today. I don't know if he had some sort of feeling, or if there was something in the driveway. I don't know. I never saw it, never heard it. But we were all set to go hunt, and he was like, "Nope, today we're going to take the day off."
Wow.
And you didn't argue either, did you?
Didn't argue because of that tone.
Mm-mm.
So let's go back to that impression. Too deep for deer, too round for a human boot.
And too wide for a bear.
Too wide
For a bear.
It definitely is more squatchy than Dog Manny.
Well, something dropped out of that tree.
Yeah.
Now, if it had been a squatch, I could see it dropping, breaking its neck, and shimmying back up the tree. But a dogman, you'd think there would be teeth and claws involved.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I don't know. This one just kind of says Bigfoot to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So,
Roxanne says DA, he probably felt it in the air. Knowing Uncle Buddy, he might have seen it standing at the end of the driveway. We were in the middle of nowhere. Uncle Buddy's house was on that bluff above the Niangua, and his next closest neighbor was probably 2 miles away.
How relation to what we've been talking about? How far was Uncle Buddy's house from this ridge?
Uncle Buddy's house would be closer to Ha Ha Tonka. Much closer. In fact, if you'd have taken the river, maybe 6-7 miles down river to Ha Ha Tonka, a good day's float.
wow.
But he was definitely closer to Ha Ha Tonka. From his house to Ha Ha Tonka by car, 20 minutes maybe. And that's not a DA 20 minutes. That's an actual 20 minutes.
That was good. That was a good little slip of that in there. Golf clap. Yes, sir.
Don, yeah, that's Uncle Buddy's. Uncle Buddy was the inspiration for Jay Matoska, and when I describe the house at Jay Matoska's, I'm describing Uncle Buddy's house.
Wow. That was interesting.
Muy interesante.
What about the scent?
But what we talked about earlier, scent. Maybe that's what
Said it was metallic, but not like blood. Kind of like lightning before the air, like before
Ozone.
lightning strike. Ozone, exactly.
Yep.
So, what if it wasn't? What if he wasn't smelling something external, but maybe something he was smelling within his own body by his physiologic reaction? You know, you start an IV on somebody and you flush them. They tell you they taste copper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they can smell it. Some of them
They can smell it. Yeah, we're injecting them with salt water. There ain't no copper.
Yeah.
But
So
because
what
of
about
it
when
does
he-
to them, they smell it.
What about when he heard it drop out of the tree but couldn't find it?
Yeah.
Heard the thump of something hitting the ground.
Right.
To me, that's like, look at
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Time to go, boys.
I hear something big thud on the ground and I can't see where it's coming from or where it was.
And he never described hearing the snap of a limb break, so it wasn't a dead fall.
So clearly, this is something that's used to being in the treetops.
Yeah, and can move. And if it's in something that big, moving with that amount of stealth, phew.
And I just mentioned earlier that there are reports from hunters down there being followed by something in the trees. Not necessarily on that ridge, just near Table Rock Lake.
Man.
See, Philip Coyle
says,
Yep.
There you go.
He was
Go
going where I
ahead.
was
Go ahead.
thinking. Yeah, smells a
Steve.
very faint reaction in the blood when the iron hits it from the salts. Exactly. And I think somebody else alluded to it. You know, maybe when his body is releasing those threat hormones, you know, it's that's how he's detecting it.
Angela Monroe says maybe the thud was it dropping his deer.
Could have been.
Would explain why he couldn't see it. I mean, a tan colored deer laying in the leaf litter, going to be tough to spot unless you're right on top of it.
Yep.
Little concerning if he was maybe dropping the deer so his hands were free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
I mean,
Yeah, but right after the thump was the exhale.
I don't know.
The deer
I mean, I was just thinking, you know,
deer
I've seen
could
like
remain in the tree.
I've
Yeah,
seen
could
people
have
in
just stuck the
combat.
deer between a tree trunk.
Well, true, but like I've heard of people like dropping the rucks, right before, there's some anticipated firefight, just to get the weight off them.
Yeah. Speaking of that, boys, do you remember that picture I sent out? It was in the group chat some time ago. I got to see if I've still got it. Picture of that one of those trees broken off and stuck in the ground with a moose on top of it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Reminiscent of our deer. Or what was left of our deer.
Right.
Philip Crowell says it freed up its hands in the ready position. The ball was in the human's court of what to do next.
Uh-huh. Yep. The Sasquatch version of
My dance card just opened up.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Whatever, Sparkles.
Yeah, my dance card's open. Arlen says, Doc, years and years ago, my brother and two cousins were exploring a cave in Kentucky near my dad's land. We heard something large drop to the floor of the cave, and we left. I don't blame you. I would have too.
I 100% understand.
Doc, would you look at the time?
Arkansas Hog Hunter Dan says, could be it dropped itself or the deer behind a tree trunk where it couldn't be seen.
True.
I personally, from the sound of it, especially since it was shortly followed by a big exhale, I think it dropped to the ground and was waiting for him to make a move.
itself.
Yeah.
He's waiting to see what he did next.
Right.
And if he'd have taken any aggressive action, it would have been on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. That was him. That was him saying, okay, I'm here. What you going to do? Your move.
And he described the exhale as deep enough to vibrate the air, but definitely not a deer blow or a bear huff. I think that was a straight up either a warning or a challenge.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Doc Holliday and Ringo. Say when.
Mhm.
Say when.
Yeah.
Oh, I reckon I wasn't as sick as I made out. So we're talking about something. Well, we don't know what, because we don't have a sighting with this. But we got something that's comfortable moving through the trees, is heavy enough to leave a large impression in the ground, capable of carrying, say, 100. Let's just call it 150 pounds of dead deer, straight up a tree. Intelligent, and shows territorial dominance. So, whatever you want to say this is, it's not a normal animal. It's not a bear. It's not a wolf. It's not a mountain lion. It's not a bobcat. Nothing normal does this.
Missouri tree gator.
Yeah, Missouri tree gator.
Well,
You'd heard that gator.
Yeah, as a gator beller.
Yeah.
Everybody's seeing folks in TV and movies, casually carrying, an unconscious human around. 150 pounds of dead weight feels like 300.
Sure does.
Amen to that, dude.
I remember in the Army, we would have to carry somebody in the fireman's carry. And, just, to train to carry your battle buddy out. And then, of course, when I was in corrections, we had to do that to simulate carrying out an inmate if there was a fire or something like that. I can't remember how many times I did that. Probably part of why my back's messed up. But that is not an easy carry.
Yeah.
Not.
That's like that. One of the things we did at the academy was had to do that drag, and it was like a fire hose rolled up to make it, or with a set of bunker gear on to make it like a human. It's about 180 pounds, and
Yep.
that's where I learned that saying, Doc, meat pudding with popsicle sticks in it.
Yep. That's the truth.
Well,
Will Willis talked about that with the Ranger roll.
mhm.
The easiest way to pick people up when they're like that. I don't know
But
that
you
I
got to
can
be.
do that, but
You got to be coordinated. I saw him do that, and I was like, I'd end up kicking some fool in the face and snapping my freaking groin muscle.
yeah, I'd break my neck trying to roll over somebody and lift them up on my shoulder like that. But
I'd end up as hurt as they were.
But you, the point with all that and all that funny stuff is, with the dummies and the dummy drags and the range roll stuff like that is dead weight. Like Steve said, you're not picking up 100 pounds when it's dead weight. You're picking up 300 pounds.
Yeah, there's nothing like dead weight, man. It really is not.
Watch those people try to pick up their dogs where they don't want to go inside or don't want to go down some stairs. They
Yeah.
suddenly become, the densest thing on the planet. Just
Or,
You know?
whenever your kids were little toddlers, they're like 25, 35 pounds, whatever. But when they don't want to go somewhere, they do that. They have their own little self-defense mechanism called defense system called noodle foo. And they just turn into a little wet, limp, dead weight noodle. And you can't even pick them little suckers up.
Yeah.
Oh, or your kid falls asleep on the couch and you go to carry him to their bed. A 30-pound kid weighs 70 pounds all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. So dead weight, man, there's something to be said for that. If he's hauling that deer up the tree, sticking it up there quietly to boot,
So what kind of creature can do that?
bro, something
The same
big
kind
and
of
freaking strong.
Same kind
It
of
ain't a
creature-
bear.
Same kind of
No.
creature that can pick up a 55-gallon drum full of diesel fuel that we
Correct.
figured weighs how much, Doc? 450 pounds?
400, yeah, like 450 pounds, something like
Yeah,
that.
because a bear going up a tree is noisy as all get out.
Oh, yeah. Bears do not climb quietly.
No.
Hey, thank you, Hartgrove.
Yeah,
Hartgrove
pardon
mentioned
me.
subscribe.
Y'all
Thank
pardon me
you.
one moment. I'll be right
What-
back.
whatever
right.
this is has some upper body strength.
No
Lots
kidding.
of upper body strength.
So, do you think the landing sound means that it hunts from up there?
I think some do. I think we've talked about that before.
I think it's very smart to do that.
I mean, why wouldn't? I mean, especially, if you're in an area where you're hunting with a big, wide open area that obviously you couldn't hunt that way.
Right.
If you're hunting deer that's out in a big open field, but if you're hunting deer in places like the Mark Twain where the canopy gets like we've talked about,
Like a roof over your head.
yeah, I mean, and you're adept at doing that, why wouldn't you?
Well,
Exactly.
same reason why humans use deer stands.
Yeah,
Get you up off the
exactly.
ground.
Give you a better vantage point and makes it harder for you to be spotted by anything just looking around casually. Because I'm as guilty as the next guy. When I walk through the woods, I've been making myself look up, but used to, I never looked up.
No, I never
I
did.
didn't expect anything to be up there but squirrels.
Well, it also makes it less likely you're going to be smelled too. Upwind, downwind don't mean as much if you're 10 feet above the wind.
Right.
Good point.
Unless whatever stink you're making is very dense, it's not going to get down to your prey.
Exactly. Well, you boys ready to jump into the next story?
Sure.
Robbie, why don't you take this one, brother?
Yeah, let me get to it. We're on 6, right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that followed him out of the woods. He wasn't supposed to be out there alone. He planned to meet a friend late season deer hunt, but the friend bailed on him last minute. He went away, stubborn, confident, and familiar with the ridge system west of Lampe. He'd hunted it for years. He knew the trails, the draws, the bedding areas. He wasn't afraid of the dark, or the cold, or the Ozarks. He should have been, though. He parked his truck at the end of a gravel pull-off and hiked in just before dusk. The woods were quiet, not in a strange way, just the normal hush of evening settling in. He moved slowly, scanning for signs, listening for movement. He didn't see anything, not a deer, not a squirrel, not even a bird. But he didn't think much of it. He'd stayed out longer than he meant to. By the time he started heading back, the sun had dipped below the ridge, and the forest had gone dim to dark in a minute. He clicked his headlamp on and followed the faint trail back towards the truck. That's when he heard it. A footstep behind him. Not a twig snap, not a rustle, but a step. Heavy, deliberate, and bipedal. He froze, listening. Nothing. He took a few more steps. Another footstep. Closer. He spun around, headlamp sweeping the trees, but nothing moved. Nothing breathed. Nothing reflected in the light. He told himself it was just an echo, a trick of the terrain, his imagination. He kept on walking. The footsteps kept pace with him. Not rushing, not hiding, but just following. He picked up the speed. So did the footsteps. He stopped. They stopped. He turned off his headlamp, heart pounding, and he stood in the darkness listening. The woods were silent. too silent. He turned the light back on and kept moving, faster now, almost jogging. The trail narrowed, weaving between thick stands of oak. His breath fogged the air. His pulse hammered in his ears. Then he heard it again, a low, deep exhale from the brush to his right. He swung the light around toward the sound. Something moved. Not fast, not startled, just shifting its weight, like it had been standing there the whole time. He didn't see the eyes. He didn't see a shape. He saw absence, a patch of darkness that didn't match the rest of the forest. A silhouette too tall, too broad, and too still. He backed away slowly, keeping the light on the shape. It didn't move. He turned and walked as fast as he could without running. The footsteps still followed. Closer now, heavier, more confident. He reached the last bend before the truck, a narrow corridor of trees where the trail pinched in tight. He stepped into it, and the woods behind him went dead silent. Then he heard it, a second set of footsteps from the other side of the trail. Something was flanking him. He broke into a run. Branches whipped his face. His pack bounced against his shoulders. His breath tore out of him in ragged gasps. The footsteps behind him exploded into motion, crashing through brush, pounding the earth, closing the distance with terrifying speed. He burst out of the tree line and sprinted towards his truck, fumbling with the keys. He could hear it behind him, not just footsteps now, but breathing, heavy, wet, and too close. He reached the truck, yanked the door open, and threw himself inside. He slammed the lock button just as something hit the side of the truck with enough force to rock it on its suspension. He screamed. He couldn't help it. The truck shook again, a deep, resonant impact like something massive had slapped the metal with an open hand. He jammed the key in the ignition, hands shaking so badly that he dropped them twice. When the engine finally roared to life, he floored it, gravel spraying behind him as he tore down the road. He didn't look back. He didn't want to see it. He drove until he hit pavement, then kept driving, hands white-knuckled on the wheel, breath coming in short, panicked bursts. When he finally pulled into his driveway, he sat in the truck for nearly an hour, shaking, unable to move. The next morning, he went outside to check the damage. There were handprints on the side of his truck. Not human, too large, too long, and too wide. 5 fingers, no claws, no pads, just hands, pressed into the metal hard enough to leave dents. He sold the truck a week later. He never hunted again. And when he tells the story now, he always ends it the same way. It didn't chase me out of the woods. It walked me out, like it wanted me to know it could have taken me any time, and it chose not to. Yoinks.
Holy crap, dude.
Well, there's at least 2.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they made themselves known. For show.
Chased him back to his truck and did enough damage to leave dents with handprints.
This is the first one we read tonight that has been like aggressive.
Right. I was thinking the same thing. But they had the same feel to them initially because of the exhale. Like, hey, we're here.
But I still think it was aggressive. It was more aggressive than the others, but I don't think it was they wanted to get him because they could have.
Absolutely.
There's no way
when he broke into a run, then they ran.
Yeah. But I think at that time they were just, I mean, obviously they could have run him down if they'd have wanted to.
Right.
Challen says, I'm thinking 3, DA. Probably at least.
At least. If you heard 2, there were more.
Well, bears don't leave handprints on trucks. They'll leave paw prints, but they don't have hands.
Right. Exactly.
Doc looks comfortable.
He is. He is.
Poor little fella, all tuckered out.
He's just worn out from doing nothing. Wyatt has a good point. Instilling fear. Yeah, it was basically giving him the message. We could have got you, but we didn't.
Yeah, you come back, we just might.
Well, it worked because he sold his truck and didn't hunt no more.
Yeah.
That's a lot like that. Well, that old boy, that story I told you about, a guy that felt it tugging on his lunchbox, and he said, I wasn't going to get 8 over a bologna sandwich and an apple.
Right.
He said, I gave it the lunchbox. That's out in that same area. He said it was over by Blue Eye, which is right out there by Lampe.
Dang, dude.
So same area. That was like straight up predatory stalking.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say this is more like hunting behavior.
And two, depending on how many times people go into this area, they may get a little bit more aggressive with getting people out of there. Like if he was the
True.
fifth or sixth person that week that they've had to escort out of there, maybe they're just like, all right, I'm done with this. Get the heck out.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, Bouncer gets a little more short-tempered closer to last call.
Well, I'm telling you, boys, that area is not heavily populated. Lampe is not a big town. Blue Eye is not a big town. Maybe between the two of them, 1,000 people. Maybe. You don't really get a big town until you get over to Shell Knob, and even that's not very big. A couple thousand people at the most.
I was going to say, if you're considering Shell Knob the big town, that tells you exactly how far out you is.
Well, Kimberling City's what, 800?
Yeah, and these are all hunters too, man. So it could be that these critters are like, hey, dude, you're messing with our food supply. Y'all go hunt somewhere else. You're messing with our food.
Well, It's like the story we talked about the other night when when they was breaking into the cabin, and then they went after him because or not the cabin, but was breaking into the little barn where they were keeping the deer.
Yeah.
And when they took the food supply away, that's when they got aggressive.
Yep.
So same thing, you're in here messing with the food supply.
Just a guy we have, but not in that area where this ridge is at. Combs Ferry is over by Lampe. Not far.
Right. Yeah. Don Donaldson, this is my store, not yours. Get out of my store. Yeah. They literally are putting their hands in the proverbial cookie jar, and they don't like it.
Well, and if it's that close to Combs Ferry, it's in Bigfoot territory.
Right.
It's like you said, DA. Uncle Buddy told you, if you shoot a deer and it goes off down that ridge, that's theirs.
Let it go.
Yeah, it's theirs. If you shoot it and it stays up above the ridge, you're fine. But you don't chase it down there, because if you chase it down there, sorry, it's theirs.
Everything below the dry creek bed was off limits.
Yeah. So
we didn't hunt it. We didn't go in there.
It seems like this is the same type of area that, you go into this particular area hunting, that's theirs. And they defend it, pretty heartily.
Well, I know one place down at Uncle Buddy's, from his deck, we could look out over the Niagara River, but you could look down the river, and the next ridge line down, there was a big cave in the side of in fact, it was the cave I used in the book, the first Apex Predator book. That cave is there. And I remember looking at that cave going, man, I said, I wonder what's in there. And he goes, oh, you don't want to go over there. He says, that's rough territory. You don't want to go over there. He didn't tell me not to go. He just very strongly discouraged me from going.
Translation, I know what's over there. You don't
go over there.
Exactly.
But that cave is over on the side of the area past that dry creek. Although you could get there from the river without going through that section. So my guess is something uses that cave. It's a big cave.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff tonight that we've kind of it's all these encounters, like Doc pointed out earlier, have those commonalities that show that it could have gone a lot worse if they'd have wanted it to, but it was just
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%.
Y'all get on out of here. Time for you to leave. You've seen enough.
Yeah. Consider yourself warned.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like, a stray dog comes up on your porch. Get on out here. Think that hoof is get on out here.
Yeah, exactly.
You may go now.
Go on, man. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
But it hit the truck twice with enough force to shake the whole truck.
Dude.
Well, the first one was it trying to slow its momentum. The second one, it was pissed. You know, you put 1,000 pounds in a full gallop, it's going to take a little bit of real estate to slow down.
Boys, next time you're here, Steve can attest to this, but the next time you guys are here, we'll head back down to Table Rock Lake, and then I'll take you over to Shell Knob. When you hit the Mark Twain over there, it's like you're in another planet. It really is. It's like miles and miles of driving with nothing but trees on either side of the road.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of heebie-jeebies out in them woods by Shell Knob.
I would definitely do that.
Looking forward to it.
And down by Shell Knob is where that other campground we haven't been into, Big Bay.
But
there's another shut-down campground right there at Shell Knob. It's called Big Bay.
But not just.
I've been to it, but not into it because you can't drive into it anymore.
But not just these stories. Not how many times we seen this same kind of scenario play out. Somebody has one of these experiences, and it, lifelong hunters. Every one of these stories we've read, people have been hunters their whole life, and they've encountered something that's so profound that they're done. They don't. Not. I'm not going back to that area no more. I'm done hunting. That's it.
I know a guy who quit being a cop. A deputy. He quit being because he went to a call and they reported it as a prowler. And what he saw that night, he's like, nope, I am not taking another call where I might run into something like that. And last I knew, he was not even in law enforcement anymore.
Dang. It freaked him out that bad.
Yeah.
Scared the cop out of him.
Yeah.
God,
Literally.
dude.
He said there wasn't a dang thing I had in my car that would have done more than piss that thing off. And I'm not going to take the chance of running into another one.
Ooh-wee.
Boy.
Gum. Yeah. No, thank you.
Oh, also, the handprints had 5 fingers.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the hands seemed too long.
Too big for a human. That's scary.
So whatever that is, it's big.
Yeah.
And clearly it wasn't afraid of him or the truck.
Think about the print left on your road that time, DA.
I was just thinking that, though, up in Gatlinburg.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I synced it.
I've still got the pictures of that.
I synced it live, though.
Yeah, you saw it actually on the car. Man, those were some greasy handprints, too.
Yeah. Because it rained after that, and it was still there when I got there. When I met you in the parking lot of the hotel, you said, "Come
It's
here,
still clear."
Yeah. And I mean, Doc, I'm serious. It was like fingers were like that long on it.
Good Lord.
And I got some big long fingers, but they were longer than mine.
I remember Robbie put his hand up next to it and goes, holy crap, look at the size of that.
Looked like a toddler's hand.
Yeah.
It did.
I got 2 buddies that are both 6'8", and I can put my hand up to them, and literally my finger is like just that far off of both of my buddies. So I've got big hands, and DA saw it. I put my hand up next to it, and literally it was like that much longer than mine.
You've seen how big my hands are, because me and you were like, you got some big hands for a little feller, whenever we was in when we was in Missouri last time.
Yep.
And dude, it's something, if I could put my hand in something and it's that far around it or above it, holy crap, dude, that's something big.
Miss Lene, he never said what he thought it was.
And to put it in perspective for y'all, y'all out there, I can palm basketballs in either one of my hand, full size basketballs. That's how big my hands are. So I'm, not bragging.
Same.
I'm just saying it was bigger than that.
Yeah.
Roxanne, I think they were always there. I just think we never heard anything about them because anytime somebody saw something walking on 2 legs in the woods covered in hair, it was immediately reported as Bigfoot. It's only because a lot of research has been done on what's out there, what different types of things are out there, when we're started to be able to differentiate between the reports. I mean, even Coonbo said his first Dogman reports was before anybody knew what the dog man was. He got him in the late 70s and just thought it was a weird Bigfoot report until he started putting two and two together.
Well, like we said, Dogman that phrase wasn't coined until what?
90s, I think it was.
Yeah, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think after all of these stories? That has definitely got to be an area we've got to try to find and research.
Oh yeah.
I think we found it. I think we just need to get down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think I would definitely like to have more than the four of us going down there.
Oh yeah, we'll take Jenkins and Astray again. I'm sure Wyatt's going to want to jump in. I've got several people that have messaged me that are in the area. Noah would definitely be there. I've got several people, most of them with either military or law enforcement experience, that are like, "Hey, you're going to want another one of these. I'm right there with you." So we've got a good group to draw from.
A platoon more than a squad. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, we would definitely have safety in numbers.
Wyatt says, "You know it."
Oh, I knew he'd be down like a fat kid on a seesaw. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Oh yeah. I am so glad we got idiots for friends, because otherwise we'd be in big trouble.
Yeah, because we'd still go regardless.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
You're going where? Y'all have fun.
Yeah.
Boys,
Okay.
We are rapidly approaching the top of the third hour, and we still have over 180 people watching.
That's
Goodness.
Awesome. That is awesome. Folks, we're going to have to start winding things down. We are coming up on the third hour, and with the Unex Network, we have to make sure there's time for the other shows, but I knew we didn't have anybody waiting immediately in the wings behind us. Doc, you want to take us out with the outro, and then we'll talk about our we've already talked about Dark Angel, but we'll do that again, and then we'll kind of wind things down.
Absolutely. So, what you have all just heard along with us is just stories from the ridge west of Lampe, a place where the forest goes silent and where blood trails into nothing, where bones are arranged with purpose and something walks on two legs through the brush without ever showing its face. It's a place where animals avoid, a place the old timers fear, and a place the witnesses never return to. Tonight, we followed hunters who survived that ridge, a bow hunter who watched a deer vanish mid-chase, a pair of brothers who heard something breathing in the brush, and an old man who's been warning people for over 50 years. And lastly, the man who was walked out of the woods by something strong enough to dent automobiles still with its bare hands. Each story is different. Every detail is unique, but every witness has said the same exact thing. It wasn't hiding, it was watching. And that's the part that lingers, because whatever owns that clearing, whatever arranges those bones, whatever silences the forest and stalks the ridge of the Mark Twain isn't afraid of us. It isn't running, it isn't retreating, it definitely isn't avoiding contact. It's letting people leave, and that means it's making choices. Predators hunt, territorial creatures warn, but something that intelligent, something that can lift a deer off the ground and moves through the canopy, flanks hunters and leaves handprints and automobiles still, something like that doesn't just live in the woods, it rules them. So if you ever find yourself west of Lampe, if the birds go quiet, if the air gets heavy, and if you feel your eyes on you from the tree line, remember the stories that y'all all listened to tonight, because remember that clearing, remember those bones, and most of all, above all else, enter at your own risk. We'll see you on the next trail.
And folks, we're going to take a couple minutes to talk about our affiliates and all of the wonderful things that our affiliates give us in these wonderful little excursions we take out in the woods. And we'll start with the word from the man himself, little old Doc from Dark Angel Medical.
Hey, so if y'all have not heard, we've talked about Dark Angel Medical and Dark Angel Med Kits, things like that. It's been in DA's books for years and Robbie's books. Dark Angel Medical was a little business I started 15 years ago. which has blown me away. And as a labor of love, if you head over there, check out our products. We've got anything from little small minor first aid all the way up to your mass casualty kits, kits for your car, kits for your boat, kits for your RV, kits for your European shoulder bag, whatever you want to put it in, we can make it for you. All of our kits are HSA, FSA approved. And if you utilize one of our kits to save someone's life, just let us know and we'll replace whatever you have used absolutely free of charge. That's called our Kit for Life guarantee. So if you head over there, use cryptid20 for 20% off your order. And if you want to get trained and learn how to use this stuff, we also do training. We also do classes. So check that out. We have a YouTube channel with some informative videos on there as well. Our 2026 calendar is out. We're adding more classes to it all the time. Hoping to get one up there around DA's neck of the woods and another one in South Carolina and Robbie's neck of the woods. So y'all head over to darkangelmedical.com. Use that coupon code Cryptid20, and we'll thank you for that. From a veteran-owned small business, we appreciate each and every order, and that's the reason we put a thank you note on there. When I write that thank you note on there, or when Angie writes that thank you note, we mean that from the bottom of our heart, because y'all are helping us out, and y'all are helping us put those birthdays in the boxes, and that's something you can't put a price tag on or a value to. And we got 211 saves right now, and that's pretty doggone awesome right there.
Heck yeah, it is. Proud of you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Yep.
Steve, you want to tell us a little bit about Scallywag Tactical?
Yeah, so speaking of veteran-owned companies, Scallywag Tactical is another one of those. They make, in my opinion, the best production blades in the business. They aren't the cheapest game in town because they're not cheap knives because they ain't cheap knives. Yep, I've said virtually every one of us has something that they have for an everyday carry. Some have a few. I mean, even at work, I take one of their knives to work. Their little mini jack. It's one of the smaller wee knives of their group there, and they're good people. And speaking from experience, they're helpful people when it comes to a novice at buying knives. I thanks to my own ignorance and stupidity, I managed to damage one of mine, and not only did they fix it, but they educated me on how not to do it again. And that was huge to me. That meant a lot to me. I still felt like an idiot, but not the first time in my life that's happened. But you go to their store, use discount code DA Roberts 10, you'll get 10% off your order. They're coming out with new stuff all the time. They've got some blemish blades that you can get some extra deals on. They're kind of items that have like a little damage to the box or something like that, and you can get some significant deals on those. And they're awesome stuff. Definitely check them out.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Robbie, you want to tackle SigwoArms.com?
Sure. Sigwo, and also another veteran-owned affiliate of us. The Codys have a store in Missouri. They're close to where DA and Steve live. They manufacture their own ammo, and they also make their own firearms in-house, which if anybody knows a lot about middleman and cutting costs, that helps out a lot. You can get some really good deals and really good prices. And plus, they're a couple of great guys, and they know their stuff. They really know firearms. I've had extensive conversations with both of them, and they know their stuff. They also are the only game in town that's licensed. If you order your own AR platform or anything else, and you want to get some laser engraved with the Wild Hunt or any of that kind of stuff, Dark Frontiers on your pew pew, they can do that for you. Just tell them we sent you. Use code Bigfoot5. Get yourself a nice little discount on that. Like I said, they also make their own ammo. They get a really good deal, 9mm, 45, 300 blackout. Probably just about anything, any ammo that you want, they've probably got.
And they're adding more all the time.
Yeah. I'm sure, I'm sure as time goes by, they'll get more and more dies, and they'll be able to do just about anything. They also do their own in-house firearms training and things of that nature. They sell cans or as DA loves to call them, whisper pickles. You can get your stuff there. Check them out at sigwoarms.com. Tell them we sent you. Tell the Codys we said, hey, we heard about y'all on the Nightmare Hunters podcast. They'll be glad to hear from you.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you, brother. And we would be remiss if we didn't mention some of our fellow authors. Check out lucatjacobs.com. Luca's a fantastic author. She's a good friend of ours, good friend of the show, very talented lady. And she writes in the same genre very much like Robbie and I do. She's about to release a new book. You can pre-order it now. But check all of her books at lucatjacobs.com. The Nicole Beretti series is awesome. I think you really like them. She writes a lot of cryptid horror, and I think you're really going to like them. And while you're checking out books, make sure you check out the most recent from my good friend over here, Mr. Robbie Rains. His newest, which is called Avalon Rising, is a grand slam knock out of the park. It's a fantastic book. It's a nonstop roller coaster ride from page 1 to the final page, and you guys would definitely enjoy it. He's got, 7 books out now with more coming? Yep. He's got 7 books with a couple more on the way coming soon, and you can't go wrong picking those up, and definitely let him know. And might have a bit of a little surprise, but someone has joined the ranks of the Writers Guild, and Doc has just completed his first novel. We're going to be helping him get that edited and cleaned up, and I think you guys are really going to like it. I really enjoyed it. It's a great read, and I will have release information as that gets closer. But hopefully you guys will also, when you're checking out all these amazing books by these fantastic authors, also check out my books. And you can find all of my books. I've got 37 currently in print with codename Wild Hunt Leviathan Down coming soon. You can find all of my books on Amazon.com or at daroberts.net. And I hope you guys will check them out and become part of the DA verse, as Robbie and Doc are part of the growing DA verse. But there's a lot of stories out there to enjoy, all available. This goes for Luca, Robbie, and obviously it will for Doc as well as my books. They're all available in print, Kindle, and audio for those of you who prefer to listen to your books on audio format, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love to listen to a good storyteller. But I hope you guys will check all of those books out. And I was going to put up my link, but I haven't seen it pop up yet. I'm going to put mine up there so I can share my link.
Yeah.
Just a second. Where's it at? Come on now. There we go. My newest book, Dark Frontiers, Devil of the Absarokas. I think you guys will really enjoy it.
So good.
Especially those of you who enjoy a lot of action in your books. Devil of the Absarokas is still number 4 in its category, and it was the number 1 new release in horror. When it was released, it stayed number 1 for over a month. And I'm hoping to follow that up with the next codename Wild Hunt. So, folks, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Appreciate you guys. Each and every one of you guys for being part of the Nightmare Nation, for sharing these stories with us, and for spending your time and your evenings with us, because we really enjoy spending this time with you. This channel has grown a lot over the last few years, and I'm really excited to see where the direction it's going to take us in the next few years. So stick with us, folks. We're growing. We're collecting new stories. We've got investigations coming, and we'll share it all with you. And again, I will say this, and I've said it many times. Remember, folks, there are no experts in this field. What we share with you is just what we've observed, what we've been told, and what we've experienced ourselves. So any theory that we share with you is just that, a theory, and should be treated as such, because we could be wrong. But we are just presenting to you what we have observed, the encounters that we've been told, and the experiences we've had and are happy to share with you guys. So any theory you guys have on cryptids, just as valid as anyone else's out there. So none of us know. They're cryptids for a reason, and until we've got them, cataloged and part of the mainstream science, they're going to remain cryptids, and nobody knows for sure. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. We have had a wonderful time this evening. Hope you guys will be joining us on Monday for Monday Mayhem. And again, this coming Wednesday when the Nightmare Crew comes back. And we've got a lot more stories to share with you folks and a long way to go. And I appreciate you guys taking this journey with us. So as we wind things down, grab a glass of whatever it is you're drinking tonight. It doesn't matter because we're going to lift a glass in remembrance to those we've lost along the way. Steve, how about you take us out with the toast tonight? Let me bring it up.
All righty. Seems only fitting considering, the bartender in your stories is me. But since it fell into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Slàinte.
Good night. Slàinte. See you guys next time.
Plains, the winds are howling, saloon doors swinging, shadows growling. 3 lawmen stand tough as rawhide. Yeah, Doc and DA, nothing can abide. Whiskey shots and poker faces, staring down the darkest spaces in this town where legends roam. These boys bring justice, sending evil home. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night. Jed's a howler, claws of steel, Doc's a biter, makes a devil real. But DA's a shifty one, a shape-shifting soul, can turn to anything, takes any form, takes control. Tonight the chupacabras come to town, sucking the life from all around. But these lawmen, they ain't afraid, they'll face the darkness unafraid. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and range. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night. Full moon rises, bat wings flap, the air grows cold, a chill and trap. But these lawmen, they're ready to fight underneath the pale moonlight. Jed and Doc transform with a howl, DA shifts, becomes a night owl. Together they stand, a force so strong against the evil right in the wrong. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night.